everybody in the interweebs. It's back here with Kicking It with Kpop, and welcome to the chat, everybody. Yes, hi. I'm here with, again, the lovely Andrea Molinari, and with a new guest, by the way, this is Roberto Molinari. Hello. Hi. How are you guys? It's always fun. I always love having Andrea on to chat comics because you always can see the enthusiasm that he has in what he's talking about, and it's infectious, and I love that. So thank you very much for coming back on here again.
Well, it's a pleasure. You definitely enjoyed it. I'm really happy to have Roberto with me. He's been my co-writer and sidekick, and fellow.
We've been doing this for like a while now.
Yeah,
like
it'll be 10 years. Well, 10 years published in next year, but we started this. We wrote this in
16
June of 11.
Because I'm pretty sure I was like 16 when you had the dream.
Yeah,
and like I'm 30 now, so since the very beginning, it's been about 14 years or so. Because especially I think that was during the summer. We're past the summer of this year, so yeah, I'd say like it's got to be 14 years now.
That's lovely. I like that. I like that. You guys have been around for a while. Domo arigato, Mr. Roberto. Yes.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a cute one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I do that. And then what's the one with it's like from Waterboy? It's the Adam Sandler thing. It's me, your daddy, Roberto, or whatever. Like I heard it.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's good.
It's not a name that gets used all the time. So unfortunately, the few times that it does get used in media, I get them.
Well, it's okay, because if you don't know, Jay here is AKA Geminem. He is the #1 gem streamer on the interwebs, and he may or may not be a Eminem lookalike. Just saying. It's amazing. So yeah, I know it's a heavy title to hold. Right there. So for those that's just joining us, would you like to give yourself a brief introduction of what it is that you do in comics? Who are you? What do you guys like to do?
Okay, so Roberto and I are the co-writers, co-creators of the Shepherd graphic novel series, which is now we're working on this Kickstarter that we're doing for the collected volume 4. So, which is over 600 pages total of the 4 volumes of stories that we've done. We started writing, I mentioned it earlier, in June of 2011. And then it got published in May of 2015. So we're coming up on 10 years of publication. We work together on most of the stories. Sometimes Beryl works as editor. This story in particular on the Tether, this is really his story. He's the lead writer. So I really wanted him to, if he was available, to be able to participate in this one.
I mean, this one started. I mean, we were actually just talking about it recently, how it started forever ago. So like the Tether actually didn't start as a Shepherd story. This happened, I guess I would have been like 21 or 22 when we were looking back on it.
Yeah.
I was in college at USF. I was in
University of South Florida, in case you're not aware, in Tampa.
But I was, as part of like the creative writing stuff that I was doing, taking courses, I was taking, I think it was a screenwriting class, and I wrote a story called The Library, which was in my head, it basically took place in the USF library, which is like a multi-storied, very nice library. But I wrote a short story about a kind of like a school shooting sort of deal, but from the victim's perspective. So it's about these two people, Carlos and Maria, that are in the library on the second floor when things kick off. And it was really just about kind of like the tension and the uncertainty and the fear that these people were feeling in this situation that I kind of wrote that story about. And then that, like, I sent that to Dad, and he ended up really liking the story, thinking that it was like really well done, really powerful. I think it's probably one of the better things that I've written like ever of any of the stuff that I've done. And it ended up sticking around and then eventually evolved into the catalyst for the Tether. Like, I don't know how much Dad has talked about like the Tether with you. I don't know if you've read it yet.
I have read it. I read it earlier today, so I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah,
that's literally that event. Like, I mean, even talking about the shooting, like that gets kind of addressed in the Tether and stuff like that. But that short story that I wrote was literally just kind of like you might as well call it like a prequel Like, I didn't know that it was going to be that at the time that I wrote it, but it was the prequel for the Tether.
Yeah. As soon as I read it, I told him, I said, I think that story needs to become a Shepherd story. It was very clear to me that it had, the kind of ghosts hanging around it that really could have been a very powerful story. So just to recognize people in the chat there, Mexico, beautiful state. Virginia, also very beautiful state. Nice to thank you for coming and for listening to us.
We have people from everywhere. We got people from Virginia in the house. We have people from all the way from the UK. This is my mod. He's all the way from the UK. Wonderful. We got Jay all the way here in the wilds of Canada. That's right.
Where is Canada? Where that's Canada is a big tapestry.
He's all the way east.
Oh wow.
Super east. Yeah, he's like actually an hour ahead of us. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What are we talking about? Prince Edward Island? Is that what we're talking about here?
Oh, we actually have somebody from Prince Edward Island in not in chat right now, but yeah, he's over in there. But yeah, where exactly? Well, I don't know if he wants to give that out, but somewhere in the middle of the woods, building a house is where he is currently at the moment. Yes. Right. Your YouTube's acting up. Try refreshing. I don't know what's going on there, or try seeing if you're on the top chat, Glenn. Yeah, we need you active and in chatting with the peeps, because I know how you love all the peoples. But yeah, it's lovely. But the one thing that I really loved about the Tether story, I loved all the emotions that you had in all the characters, and I love how they kind of all tied in together. And I love how we got way more backstory on some of the characters that are in there, and I loved seeing that. So it was a very beautiful story.
Well, that's really touching to hear. He was worried. I mean, that how people would react to it, because in a lot of ways, as you said, it gives a lot of backstory on the character of Val, which is the son of the shepherd. And I think in a lot of ways, we talk about it kind of completing his first major story arc in terms of his character development, understanding him better, that type of thing. But the other thing that we've also talked about extensively is that happens in the Tether is we really get into more of the mechanics of how does the seam work. And for those of you in the audience who haven't read The Shepherd, we'd love for that to be changed tonight. The Shepherd is a guide of souls in the afterlife. It's about a man and his oldest son who suffer a terrible family tragedy. They end up in the afterlife. And after they're able to come to some resolution of their tragedy, they stick around in a place called the seam, which is the middle place.
Think of it as purgatory.
Purgatory. Mm-hmm. We didn't use the term purgatory because it's loaded and people think they know. And we're like, okay, we want to be able to define what this place is. So, but they help other souls that are in that middle place that are having trouble moving on. I've always been fascinated with ghost stories that involve a reason why the ghost is haunting. That it's not just there, hey, I'm here because, I've got nothing else to do and I enjoy scaring people. Not really into that kind of a ghost story. I'm more interested where there's a very important reason, some tragedy, something like that, that forces the ghost to stay, and they kind of live this kind of skipping record that keeps replaying the events around their death. And so what the shepherd does is really interact with those souls and kind of enters into their reality, participates in their reality, and helps them prevent the record from skipping again and repeating itself so that they can resolve what needs to be resolved and move on. And that's the kind of stories. So things like The Sixth Sense, I'm trying to think, there was a famous
the thing is story. Like, I think it's fair to say that like it's kind of like The Crow for the first one at least. Like I think that The Crow it's fair at least with the first one. After that, a lot of the similarities end. Just because The Crow's message is a little bit more like violent, and it's a little bit more about and we have violence in the books, but it's not as much about redemption. Whereas like the thing with the shepherd is kind of the message that like, and even with Apokatastasis, like the name of the first one, which is restoration, is literally just about restoring all of these souls that they run into. Like there's like bad guys in a temporary sense. It's like the idea is that like no matter how bad these souls are, no matter how wretched these people are, at some point they're going to get redeemed. And there's some absolute wretches.
Yeah. I'm laughing at not you, but what's going on in the
Oh, he knows. He likes to give me crap for the movies that I love, and he loves giving me crap for this and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. But guess what, Glenn? I'm forcing you to watch that this October. So, to you, Glenn.
Yeah. No,
I feel like giving you shit the clowns one is fair.
No, it's amazing. You need to rewatch it. It's fantastic.
Well, just to give you an idea, some of the ghost stories that I like, I'm a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, fantastic storytelling.
Oh yeah, I mean The Orphanage, which of course my understanding he produced that one. He didn't write it, but he did The Devil's Backbone, which is all in Spanish. If you haven't seen this, you owe it to yourself. If you like ghost stories, look up. You should be able to get it, I think, on YouTube. The Devil's Backbone. It's all in Spanish, but it does have the subtitles if you need them. And it takes place in Spain in the 1930s during the Spanish Civil War, and it's really good. But again, it's that same kind of idea where there's a haunted place, and the reasons come to light why it's haunted. And I just love those kinds of stories. I tell people, if you really want to understand me, my all-time favorite piece of literature is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. So that should tell you everything you really need to know about my taste in terms of ghost stories.
There's a really, really cool thing when you have ghost stories, not to just see the ghosts or stuff. My favorite thing, like you were saying earlier, is how they show the backstory of them, and they really get into why they're there. Like, what's the reason for them keeping them here? I love that. One of my favorite ghost movies is 13 Ghosts, and I really wish I hear they're redoing it as a TV series, which I would really love, because I would love an episode or two just for the backstory of each ghost. I would love to see that more, because I find all that stuff just absolutely fascinating to me. Yes. Oh my God, Jay.
One thing that I did want to talk about with from Jay is the Katie is a juggler. I have no idea if that's true or not. However, one of my best friends is literally a clown who is also a professional mortician. So like the whole, he's also like a juggler. Like he does circus stuff. He's spins his own wool. So very.
That guy sounds fascinating. Yeah. That guy sounds fascinating. Yeah. No. I have recently started going to Astronomicon the last couple of years, and it is quite easily and fastly becoming my favorite con to go to here. And if you don't know what that is, it's half horror, half pop culture, comics, and it's put on by the Juggalos.
Wow,
it's fantastic. I know, concerts and everything. It's actually in Livonia. They did it at Burton Manor the last couple of years. It used to be down in Ann Arbor. They moved around, but yeah, they might. It's still over in Burton Manor, which is actually not bad. So it's kind of a smaller one, but you get to know people. They put on fabulous horror panels, so they get a lot of really good guests. So yes, I've slowly become Chucklettes.
Well, that's the really cool thing about horror, is there's so many different genres within, or subgenres within the genre of horror.
Yeah.
And there's really something for anybody or everyone. Like I'm also a ridiculous fan of Godzilla, which is, I've loved that since I was a child. Even as a little child, like 5 or 6 years old, I knew that there was a man in the suit. Like that's back in the day when we're watching reruns as a child. In the 70s, I'm watching reruns on Saturday morning of the old Japanese movies that were made in the 1950s and 60s. Where the man's wearing a suit and destroying models, and I was thinking, man, I want to be that guy.
The most fabulous thing on the planet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. You have piqued Jay Ryan's interest over here.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
So they actually, back when I was like I was like yay tall or something like that, they built a fake city in the apartment. They had like tanks and soldiers and stuff like that they placed in the streets. And then they made a little home movie of me running around in a Godzilla costume, wrecking the city. And they ended up inserting the Godzilla screams whenever I would cry. Unfortunately, that
it was destroyed in a flood.
Yeah, it was destroyed in a flood. It was an absolute tragedy because it sounded hilarious.
Yeah, that was my one true claim to fame in the film world, and it's gone forever.
Not true. You could easily recreate that today.
Well, if I have a grandson at some point from this guy, I'm seriously considering that.
You can still dress him up. Roberto is good to go. You just put him in a suit.
I have painted Warhammer tanks right now. So once I have the sun, I'll have the tanks ready to go for the fake.
Yeah, that's completely awesome. I think that's absolutely adorable. One of my favorite bands, they're not great. They're just theatrical, is P-Lander Z, and they dress like Power Rangers from outer space that come down. And one of their favorite things is they dress as a kaiju and they attack the crowd. They battle each other on stage. It's fantastic. We got my favorite resident alien in the chat. Thank you very much for popping in here. Let's see.
I see figure drawing. Yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, I think it probably would be pretty nasty because it must have been very hard. Like I've seen things where they talk about how difficult it was for the actor playing Godzilla and how dehydrated they would get. And so, yeah, I can imagine it would be pretty rough. But just to say that you did that would be very cool.
I do want to give a massive shout out to whoever played the son of Godzilla.
Oh yeah, I remember that very well.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, it's fun. It's just
there's something kind of more like nostalgic when you see the foam suits, like the dudes in the foam suits instead of the CGI. I happen to extremely love that. I think that's fun.
I love it too. My daughter Lexi is studying Japanese, and she's just this summer she was there for 10 weeks in Japan in a language school. She's been there. This is her second time. Anyway, in Tokyo, there's actually you can look this up to see for yourself. There's a building in Tokyo where they have the head of Godzilla that is coming out of the top of the building. I'm no lie, I'm not making this up. And it has the roar, the cry or scream, whatever you want to call it, of Godzilla, and there's smoke that comes out of his mouth and everything. And she took film of it and sent it to me because she knows how big of a fan I am. And they actually have a Godzilla museum that I would probably kill to go see. Just to say I did it, But,
yes. Yeah. I think that needs to happen. Have you ever seen the footage from because my friends from here, they went to Japan to do like a semester in Japan. And they were over there for the holidays. And instead of Christmas trees inside the giant malls, they made a giant Christmas tree Godzilla that breathed smoke and everything. It was the coolest thing. Figure, though, has a fact here. In an interview this year, Nakajima explained how the original 1954 costume was created from ready-mixed concrete and weighed up to 220 pounds. Oh, my goodness.
That might not have been as fun as advertised then. Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Moly. First of all, shout out to the dude in there who has to have been an absolute beast to wear this thing. Oh, my goodness.
Talk about
holy crap. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Wow.
That's amazing. Way to go.
I don't even think I'd be able to move in it.
No,
but that's about it.
Well, he didn't really move too much. He kind of did like a this second.
Yeah, that's about all.
That kind of action. Yeah. What are these guys? Yeah, I know. That to me is hilarious because that's also not even just Japan. It's South Korea and a couple of the other countries where the guy from Japan, the KFC guy in Japan, got people to believe that in America we ate KFC on the holidays. So in most of the Southeastern Asian countries, it is a tradition to go get KFC. Usually you do it with couple events, but yeah, that's a thing. Shout out to that guy who came up with a genius plan. Yes.
Wow.
The movement was him trying to escape. Get me out of here. Those wars were not CGI. That was actually him trying to get out of the suit. Yeah.
What I love about those movies, I think now, is they're just so preposterous when you think of it. Like, I'll just use an example, like Pacific Rim. Like, if you saw the movie, which, by the way, I loved the first movie, Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Second one, not so much, but the first one for sure. If you think about how ludicrous this is, you have this giant kaijus that keep coming. And of course, the solution that our governments come up with, sure, we've got ranged weapons and we've got fighter planes that could fire these missiles and attack them and kill them from great distances. And yeah, we could use that. But no, what we're going to do is build giant robots. And the weaponry we're going to use of choice is a hand-to-hand sword. Basically.
If we were building giant robots, I wouldn't be as upset about my taxes. I would actually think that's cool.
Listen, I would probably go to the battle training camp to be on one of those because you kind of need to do that. That's kind of got to experience that once in your life, moving a giant mechanized kaiju guy around with a sword, by the way. Like, what?
Exactly.
That kind of
makes
sounds like the
perfect
best thing ever.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's just use. We could attack on that range, but let's do it hand in hand. And then their secondary solution was to build a wall. I'm like, really? Okay, that seems like a good plan. It's not going to be expensive at all because of all the,
clearly not expensive whatsoever. Yeah.
Like, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, especially with some of the ones that could possibly fly. Get in there.
Exactly.
That's
good. I like that, Jane. That's good stuff. You're right. If giant robots can't solve the problem, you don't really have a problem.
That's very true. Yeah.
Very good. So yeah.
Who needs health insurance taxes when it can be used for? Yeah, I know. Figure. I have a feeling you would also be joining this program as well. I know. It's fantastic. But yeah, let's see. I'm gonna go to your Kickstarter page because it's quite fantastic. Right. And I love talking about this. Hold on. What is going on here? Yeah, a second. I have a it's not showing my thing. Oh crap. Hold on. Share. There we go. I don't know. It was blank for some reason. There we go. There's your lovely Kickstarter page. Let me refresh this just to see anything has been happening. All right, here you go. You're almost at your goal here. Very nice. This is for issue. Well, it's a combined volume.
Combined volume, yeah. That is the goal. Our plan here is the $4,000 mark is to do a paperback trade. Our goal is ideally we'd like to hit 5. If we can do 5, we'll be able to do a hardcover, which is really what we'd like to do. They're just so much nicer. I mean, both will be fine. We'll be satisfied with the paperback if that's what it is. But if we're able to, if we can raise the 5, we're going to do the hardcover. And we did a hardcover for volume 3, and it just turned out so beautiful. We hired the printer who does the hardcovers for DC Comics. They're called Transcontinental. They're located in Quebec, and they did just a beautiful job on our volume 3. Which, by the way, volume 3 is also available. You can get all the volumes 1 to 4. You can get them both digitally and in hard copy. On the Kickstarter, as well as a lot of other goodies that are out there.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff on this page. And yeah, I actually backed the last Kickstarter and I got the hardcover volume, and it was gorgeous and the quality was just superb. I love the feel of it too. Yeah, it had that really cool, like matte-ish kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
We were really satisfied. It just, it's nice when you do something, it turns out better than you hope. You know, that was just really good. So, yeah.
Nice. And this cover here is absolutely just, it's breathtakingly gorgeous.
I think that's top 5 for me. Like, of all the covers that we've had across any of the volumes, I think that's probably top 5 for me. And you've had some really good covers.
You do. You have some really good covers, but this one, for whatever reason, just speaks to me on so many. I love the colors, but I also love like that yin yang, just like coming together moment. It's so pretty.
Well, one thing that I really feel that we worked hard to do, and you as a reader will have to judge if we accomplished it, but we really wanted to try to make both characters, Maria, who's the girl, and Val, we wanted to really make them full 3-dimensional characters with full feelings, and you know, she's not the damsel in distress, although there are moments when she is. He's not the heroic guy, although there are moments when he is. Sometimes he's lost and alone and can't find his ass with both hands. And I try to have a very human relationship. And I feel like, you know, that was something that was really important to us as we did that. I'll tell you this, I applaud him for the work that he did on this, because the timing of this book, now mind you, this is a romantic horror, okay? He had just gone through a really painful breakup, you know, when he's writing this. So it's like the worst possible human time to ask him to write a romance. Like I remember some of the phone calls that we had in this. He was less than pleased with me. He was like, fuck it, I don't want to fucking write this. I don't want to deal with these feelings, you know. But I think he did a really, really good job. You know, sometimes those moments of pain, you're able to draw on that. And,
yes.
Well, I think pain's a great teacher. You certainly fucking learn.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Pain and kaijus. That's, you know, that's
Pain and kaijus. That's a title right there for a graphic novel.
It sure is. Yeah. But no, I would say in your pain, you could feel the emotions hit harder. because you could definitely feel the vibes that they had. They had such a nice, lovely connection. And I would say it was more about the story of them kind of finding each other and like figuring stuff out, which I actually like. I like that backstory. I like all that stuff. But the emotion that they have, just beautiful moments between the two main characters. And because it's what is it, 4 stories in this one volume, kind of like broken up in between. Five
chapters, yeah.
Yeah. It's lovely, and I love to see that. Like, it starts out, you have a couple ones before she gets there or whatever, then when they come together and find each other, I think it's just brilliant how that happens. So
I think
you did a great job.
I'd like to think that both of the characters really good. Thank you.
Yes.
Clap, development as well. Like, in terms of like, sometimes you meet people and their big role in your life is literally to help you move forward, to like learn things about yourself, to progress, to become a better version of yourself, whatever. And I think that this is kind of the case for both of them, where they meet and, a little bit of a spoiler alert, it doesn't really work out, but it's okay. Like, they still learn from each other. They are better off from having like met each other. And I thought that I was pretty pleased with how it worked out.
I would say so, because the way that she kind of changes him from where you start with the story on like the first story in this book for the first story, and where he is like the middle to the end, you could definitely see his character evolve and like get past whatever kind of demons that he might have been hiding, because he had that relationship with her. So I think that's quite fascinating to see that.
Yeah, I think when you have somebody that loves you and you let them in, I think that love has the ability to change you and make you better. Draw out the best that's in you.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of good in us. We sometimes just need somebody to kind of like say, "Hey, it's there. You're capable of this and more than what you think."
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm proud of him on that. And up until this was really kind of a big deal, because up until this, like in the second volume, you may remember the second volume the second volume is called The Path of Souls. I'm saying this more, I know you've seen it, but I'm saying this more for the chat. The Path of Souls is volume 2 after the origin story. And it is basically the story of a hospital in the afterlife for the souls of warriors who are suffering from post-traumatic stress from different time periods and cultures. Okay.
Yes.
And Barrow wrote one of those stories. It's a story of a man by the name of Will Brannigan, actually a young man, who was a Confederate soldier who died at the Battle of Fredericksburg in it was December 11th, 1862. And I love what he did. That was him, kind of like his first full issue where he wrote that story. I worked as his editor, banged heads, worked on that. And I'm just, to this day, I'm really, really proud of how that one turned out.
There's a lot of back and forth. So like whenever we work together on these things, like there's a tremendous amount of like back and forth. There's the idea pitching thing where we, pitch whatever idea that we've had, and then we go back and forth and we chew on that for a while about like, what we like about the idea or what we don't like or where we think we can make it better. And then the other thing that like earlier on, it's less like, especially because we've done the Tether, like we kind of brushed on it earlier about like the world building, the mechanics, but we hammered out the way that a lot of these things work. Whenever you're in any like, literary playground, you have kind of like rules that are built up over time and expectations that you set for your audience, where they start to kind of like understand like, okay, well, when you put in input A, you get output B. And that's just kind of like the rules of the world. And we've kind of like gotten past most of the mechanics, like the things that we have to figure out about the world or how things work.
At least this part of it.
So far, I mean, things
So
like
far.
there's the rest of the afterlife for us to get into. And then when we get to that, we'll have to figure out like, okay, well, how does this interact? But for the playground, that like the stories that we're telling right now, which are very personal, they're very like nuclear in the sense where it's very small, like just centered around like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
We have the rule set that we need to operate, and doing the Tether really helped us hammer a lot of those details out.
Yeah. Just to give you like some literary background, like influences, like, and this, I apologize if this gets a little bit too technical, but
No, go for it.
One of my real inspirations, I love stories about the afterlife. And I mean, we're talking the Egyptian stories from ancient Egypt, the stories from Greece, going after somebody in the afterlife, things like Persephone, for example, where she's kidnapped by Hades. While she's in Hades, the world is in wintertime. When she's allowed to go out of Hades, you have springtime, that kind of mythology, that type of thing. One of my favorite stories about the afterlife is Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy. And of course, there are 3 parts of the Divine Comedy. The Inferno is Dante's Inferno is the most famous of these things. And it's basically the different 9 circles of hell, the tour. It's literally a tour that is, Dante is given a tour by the Roman writer who wrote during Augustus's Virgil. Thank you very much. So Virgil's giving him the tour. Virgil wrote the Aeneid, the famous Aeneid, and he's giving him the tour of the 9 circles of hell. And then the second story, the second part of the Divine Comedy is called the Purgatory, and then the Paradiso is the third, or paradise. And of those 3, I always liked the Purgatorio the most. And it's basically envisioned by Dante, this purgatory, as this huge mountain where the souls are walking and climbing up the mountain, going around the mountain, and literally climbing up and out to heaven. Okay. And I've always found that fascinating, that process of the souls, like working through the things that they need to work through. And the difference between, like, say, what Dante was doing and what we're doing is precisely what he just said. Dante talks about types of souls. So what does a soul go through that lies, or if the souls had a problem with stealing or whatever? But he deals with them in categories. The difference is what he was saying is our stories tend to be very focused on individual souls. So our case study is individual souls, as opposed to speaking generally or broadly about, all this kind of soul type thing.
The other major difference is that
sorry about being too technical.
No, you're fine. I love this. I love this kind of backstory stuff. This is fascinating.
In his head, especially with the way that he wrote the Inferno, which I think I read back in the day, like the Inferno, and I read the Purgatorio. I don't think I ever actually got around to Paradiso. Is that there are, for one, the people that are in hell are basically staying there, like they're done, like they're out. There's also, for whatever reason, there's a lot of Italians down there.
Go figure.
Yeah,
wonder why.
Sure they probably belong there. However, like the people that are in hell are basically stuck there, which we for a long time now have thought the idea of just being damned is like, it's a little ridiculous. Like one of the things that I think about is the idea of like just this ridiculously ancient being, like the oldest entity in the universe, who is massive on a scale that we can't understand, who has a conscience, like a consciousness that we would never be able to comprehend. And yet I've made it mad. I've made it really, really mad about something that was, I don't know. It doesn't even matter. Like any of these events, like to me, they're so fleeting. Like even things that are extremely important to us, heinous acts, whatever. All of these things are so short in scale for something that's been around that long that it doesn't make sense to me that you can piss that thing off forever. Like maybe a little bit in the moment, like you've done something really naughty and it's like, all right, well, maybe you should, get thrown over the knee and then spanked a little bit. That's fine. But like the whole idea that you've pissed this thing off, it's, ancient on a scale that we cannot comprehend forever. It seems a little ridiculous to me.
Oh, it sounds like somebody was really upset over some Fortnite or something, but
Yeah.
And Jay has some good questions. Do you look at this form of a literary aspect, or are you coming from it as a part of your faith, or both part of the same whole for you creatively?
Philosophically and literary.
Yeah, I would say so. Jay, full disclosure, and Katie already knows this, but my background is that I'm a theologian. Okay, so I have a doctorate in theology. I actually have 3 degrees in theology. And my specialty was the Greco-Roman world, particularly ancient Christianity, but I did a lot of study the Greco-Roman religions, Egyptian religion, Carthaginian, Canaanite before that, Sumerian, Babylonian, that type of thing. So read widely and in depth in the Mediterranean basin. Being very personal here, I've kind of come to a point where I don't have a place for organized religion in my life anymore. Now, that doesn't mean I don't believe in God. I do believe in God, very much so. But I've just given up on organized religion. I've seen it from the inside for way too long, and it doesn't work for me. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't work for other people. I'm just saying for me, it doesn't work. So yes, it is informed by my beliefs about God. But if you read the series, you'll see that we bring other religious beliefs from other world religions, big and small, into the series. For example, the Shepherd series as a whole begins with a 12-page short story that involves the Egyptian gods. Okay. So that gives you an example. Obviously, that's an influence of the work that I did years ago, in that mythology, Egyptian mythology. But the second volume, which is called The Path of Souls is actually a reference to the road to the village. And let me back this up. One of the characters in The Path of Souls is a Wendat Native American. And the Wendats, the white men called them Huron. And the Huron lived in that peninsula area in Ontario between Lake Erie and Lake Huron. And they were at war with the Iroquois. They were allied with the French. You may remember, from Last of the Mohicans. Okay, anyway, one of the characters there is a Wendat, and the Path of Souls is when they looked in the night sky and they saw the Milky Way. They believed that that is the path that the souls took to go to the village, which is their equivalent of heaven. And that mythology, that religious understanding, that religion is part of that volume. So we're open to utilizing and dialoguing with these different religious beliefs respectfully. Try to present them as honestly and true to themselves as we can. Without advocating them as necessarily like this is not.
I wouldn't say that we're chained. There's nothing that we're chained to.
Right. So I hope that's an answer that's honest for you.
And I definitely wouldn't want anybody to think that we're like dogmatic in any way. Like our approach is not dogmatic at all. Yeah. Like this is not a story about religion.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to save you. I hope you make it. I hope we all make it. Right. Frankly, we all need all the help we can get. But that's not what this is about. So.
No, I think you do such a beautiful job of representing different cultures and those religions, where it's like you're just showing it off, talking about it. It's a story within the story that's happening there. So I like that it's like intermingles with all the other stories that go along, which is really, really nice to see that. But I'm also fascinated too by like mythology and lore and all that thing. So to me, I love that kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's hard not to be fascinated by it.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. Some of the greatest stories ever told are mythological, dealing with gods and goddesses and the beliefs of the afterlife. And just to put it in perspective, I think we actually talked about this before. The oldest epic of a literary epic in the Western world is called the Epic of Gilgamesh, and it was Sumerian Babylonian. Ooh. And it involves a journey in the afterlife. So the oldest extant epic literature deals with a journey in the afterlife. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, and there's something too from a creative aspect, because nobody truly knows what happens afterwards. Right. So you can really get super creative with this, but also kind of follow along like the myths and legends and any of the written word from the last however many decades and eons that we've had here to kind of build like a starting point. But really, you can just go anywhere with it because it's really nobody truly knows what's
Well, the people
beyond.
that do know aren't very talkative, so it's hard to ask the question.
Yeah, that's very right. And shout out to Michael, who is attempting to catch all 52 of my streams this week. Good job. Thank you for showing up. And Jay says, yes, 100% great response. You're just curious which aspects helped inform the narrative. It's actually a very lovely narrative. And I like the different approach that you get between each one of your chapters and your volumes that you have, because it focuses on either different characters or the story that you're trying to go about. But let me get back to your Kickstarter page. We can show more of this off because I actually think it's absolutely just gorgeous. But yeah, we can get way more into all this other stuff in a little bit. But you almost are at your funding goal, which is amazing. You have 20 days to go. So if you go, it's going to end Thursday, October 31st at 7:27 a.m. Eastern time. So right before Halloween. You can go and get this stuff. And I think it's absolutely just gorgeous. This cover, I said earlier, is just absolutely phenomenal. I love it. It's so fantastic. The art that you have on the interiors are equally as lovely. And here we go. Here's the two main characters there. This is, you got the shepherd there, then you have Val right there. And I love the abilities that Val actually has, which are really neat. I love seeing that. And you actually get to see way more of that in this story than I think you have seen before, and I think that's really neat to see that. Yes.
No, we love that character. The character in that form is called Legio, which is the Greek word for legion.
Oh.
We were also like really happy that we finally got to explain, because like, you know, we talked about like world building and expectations and stuff like that. Some of the narrative as well. And one of the things that happens, without spoiling too much, is that when father and son meet in the first book in the afterlife, they don't recognize each other. You know, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but you are looking, like she said, at father and son right there. And they don't recognize each other at first. And we get into the whys in the Tether. Like we explain that you kind of get, you know, to see what turns Val into Legio when they first meet and why he is the way that he is.
Yeah. And that was a very interesting too, like sit down that you got to see in that first chapter, because it really kind of set the tone for what's going to happen for the whole rest of issue 4, or volume 4, I should say. And I thought it was really nice touch to actually see that interaction.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That one was, we've laughed about that interaction in the coffee shop or the diner multiple times, because that is almost like we've had conversations that have gone similar to that.
You kind of have to as father-son team. I mean, that's kind of what you do. You just go out sometimes. You know, it's like 2 a.m. Nobody can sleep. You know what? Whatchamacallit down the street is open. Let's just go hang and chill there.
I mean, the thing is, like, whenever it comes to the books, like, we pretty quickly come together on, like, almost all of our decision-making process. Yeah. There's really nothing that we've really, like, butted heads over for a long time. Like, one of the things that we kind of, like, on introduction went back and forth was whether or not it's, like, especially in the first one, which is really the only time that it's relevant, other than, like, when we deal with the kids that are still alive, is whether or not the shepherd and Legio would kill. That was kind of something that we went back and forth on. And then we had, and again, this is going back to the philosophical draws, where we decided that the consequences, like the narrative consequences of living in a world where the dead can just enter the physical world and then kill living people, there are kind of like widespread issues with that. So we just decided, like, and it was really Dad who won that, you know, argument, but not argument, where it's like, okay, I'm like, you know what? You're right. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that, you know, that's one of the big differences between us and like The Crow, where it's like the idea of somebody coming back from the dead and just wasting living people. Because frankly, like, if you could do that, you'd be kind of a bum not to. Like, if you die and there are bad people doing bad stuff all the time, you could just fix the problem.
Yeah.
By the way, the artist who did this, his name is Jaime Martinez. And he is from Spain, and he actually did a previous work for us in Volume 3, which is the story called The Valentine.
Oh,
and that you see his art, you'll recognize his art from there. But he's the interior artist, Jaime Martinez Rodriguez.
It's really good too. He does a fantastic job of just showing the actual utter emotion that's happening between these characters. And here's the panel that you see young Val here sitting next to actually their gravestone between the father and his own gravestone, which is quite sad. But you actually get to learn way more about this in the background of the story in this volume, which I think is actually really needed for the story that you guys have, because I think you definitely need that needed to happen. Holy crap! What's up, Fort? Yeah,
we
also like
about
the art
that.
side.
We talked about that a lot as well.
Oh, I love it. It's really
Thank
good. It's really good. It's very heartwarming as well. Yeah, here you can see more of Val in his wolfy form, which I like. I like how you have.
And by the way, the university where this is set is actually FAU, Florida Atlantic University, which is in Boca, south of us. So I went down there and took pictures of the campus.
You know, this was a long process, because when I had when originally we'd been getting art inspiration for the campus and stuff, I was sending him pictures of USF way back in the day, and it was years later that we were actually really getting this thing into production. And then even the production process has been a year and a half.
It felt like it took a long time, but it's 131, 32 page novel.
Because this thing, at least in its rough draft, has been written for years.
Yeah. Very nice. And Court just came in here too. He says he really likes the art style. Yeah, the art style is fabulous. And this page here, as you can see, what I keep forgetting it. It's Legio.
Yes.
Legio, yeah.
Yes. So you can see Legio here is following these chains around. That's hence tethered as well. And you can see here, this is all taking place in the seam right here. But you can see these red hyena guys here chasing this poor soul that's trapped on this chain here. Which is quite it's really interesting and fascinating to see how all this interacts with each other, the hyenas, the souls that are in there, or why they're kind of chained up. Yeah, I love that.
The seam is the Wild West.
It is kind of the Wild West, yeah.
We have a nebulous idea about heaven being really where the storytelling's done, where it's you guys are off in heaven, you're having a great time, whatever. It's not interesting. And then the seam is the Wild West, where all of the possibilities are, where all of the conflict happens, where the healing and even more hurting happens, which is one of the things we talked about. I think I actually talked about that in the essay that I did for this.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, you can really just see the raw emotions, in the way that they express themselves. Just such a great job by your artist. He's just going through some stuff right now. And then here we have Maria entering in.
Yeah, it's the first time we get a good look at her.
Yes, it's great. I really like it. And then here we have just a lovely moment where they're just having some fun between all the other stuff that's happening. But yeah, I'd say it's really much about the story of them finding each other, and the way that you see him change through, especially from the first, the start of the first issue all the way to the last issue. It's great.
He is. I mean, the thing is and you kind of, hit hit on it before, where Val mostly stays the same through the first 3 volumes. There's kind of the recovery that happens over the the course of the first one, where he goes from being a growling wolf to being able to actually talk again, which is nice. But from there, from the end of that to here, he's mostly he's set. And then we get here and we really delve into what does it look like for him to begin his own progress, because that's really, again, what we're doing. It's therapy basically for all these different characters, and him starting his own process of not just spinning his wheels, but actually moving forward.
Jay, he says he sees where he is looking in that bottom panel. Listen.
Yeah. Absolutely in character.
He's having fun. He's in the moment. Yeah.
16.
It's been a long time since he's actually got to see those.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it's just so great.
We also really wanted to try to capture that sense of young love too.
Yeah. He nailed it.
The first time that you fall in love, it's just like no other drug. It's like nothing like that. It's an amazing. Thank God that we don't stay in that place forever, because you can never get anything done. I mean, it would just be you're thinking about them all the time. Are they thinking about me? Do they care about me as much as I like them? Da da da. It's just, yeah, you could never get anything done if you're living that way.
Yeah, but no, this interaction I think is really, really, really cute. It's very playful, and I love seeing that. It's so nice to see that, especially from how just like moody and grumpy he was. Like as you see him like go like page by page, it's so nice to see that like just relief off his face. And
well, the series itself is it spends a lot of time being dark. Like
Yeah,
the
of course.
subject matter is often, tough subject matter.
That's true, Jay. You would get something done.
All right, Jay, mind on the gutter, please.
Oh, that's right. And this is cool too. I really like this character, this tiger guy. I thought his story arc was really interesting, and I was like, "Oh, that's neat." I like how like he came together, like Maria came together. Like that was fun for me. I like that.
I'm glad you like that.
Yeah,
Just as a little insider baseball here, you'll see that a lot of our souls take animal form, and that, by the way, we were talking about influences, religious influences, and stuff like that. And one of the things that I encountered in the ancient world was this idea that sometimes souls in the afterlife take on like animalistic appearance, and that reflects, their human appetites. So in other words, what they become in the afterlife is a mirror of what their interior life was like as a human on the earth.
I want to be absolutely clear. We're not giving the furries a single point.
However, we're not going there with that.
Yeah. However, the whole spirit animal thing is cool as a concept.
I mean, yes. And then here's a little preview of what it would look like in the hardcover, which the hardcovers are fabulous. I love the issue 3 that came in. The coloring was superb. It felt like that really nice. Like I'm a very fan of that, like a matte type finish. Like it feels interesting. I love that. Yeah, it looks great.
Well, I was very worried until I found out that they did DC Comics as hardcovers, and I thought, okay, well, if DC trusts them, then I from that point on, I was like, okay, I'm good.
Hey, what? Let's see. You like this firm stance against furry degeneracy. Listen, if you like it so much, you should back it to, back all the.
We've been making jokes about this for like forever.
I used to dig pictures from the cons and send them to him because it would drive him crazy. Get really.
Oh no, you do a fabulous job. I love. So if you guys don't follow Andrea, follow him because it's so much fun. I love when you go to cons or events and you take all the pictures of the people that are buying stuff, and it just the joy in their faces. Probably after they spent 10 minutes with you talking about books and nerding out, because seeing you in action at a con is actually that's how we met. By the way, we met at Motor City. Yeah. It's so much joy on your face when you actually let me go back over here so we can see our faces for a second. It's so much joy on your face as you're just kind of like jumping around. Like I don't think you sit down the entire time. You're just like jumping around and talking to people about comics. And it's so much fun to see you just like, everything about every title that you are hustling on the Scout Comics booth that you have there. And I love that passion. It's so much fun to see that.
Well, I've loved stories. It goes all the way back to when I was a child getting, one of my fondest memories of childhood is my mother used to take me to story hour at the library, at the local public library. And I hope that they still do this. I'm sure that they do. Back then when I was a kid, so this is early 70s, like 72 or something like that. The librarians would read children's books to the kids, and we'd all sit on the carpet in front of them, and they would show us the pictures, and all the characters had their own little voice. The librarian would read each of the characters with a different, character voice. And it was wonderful. We loved it. I mean, I just remember just being wrapped, and like I was allowed after the story hours, I could go check out any 5 books in the children's section that I wanted. And that was like the equivalent of being set free in a candy store and said, yeah, go ahead. It's all yours, So from that point on, I was done when it came to stories. It's like, it just was something I always loved. So
that was me. Cause growing up all the way, even into like 99, 2000s, we didn't have the internet. We had some gaming consoles, sure. So like when I was young, my mom would drop me off at the library because they had summer reading programs. So that's what we did all day long. Like we would just go to the library and there's summer reading programs and we would read and like they would put on like puppet shows and all kinds of fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's fun. And what's up, Tate? And A1 actually had a dream about a tiger and Tiger Man in a maze last night. Whoa. You put your dream in your dream book sketchbook. Cool. Nice. And who is hating on Furies? No one. No one really.
We touched on a nerve there. We're sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, you're fine. It's fine. CJ isn't here right now, but he did get a chance to date a half furry, which was interesting. That was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to. I'm just going to leave that. Let that lie. What that is.
But this is an interesting thing because people cosplay when they go to cons. Has anybody ever made a full-on fursuit of Legio?
Oh, no, we haven't seen that.
You said yes. Wait a minute.
He's a wolf.
Like there are so many out there already that are doing wolves. I can just be like, hey, this is Legio. I'll be like,
the closest we have to it is
what is that?
This is a mask. And we actually bought it while we were in Michigan one year at Grand Rapids Comic-Con. Pardon?
Oh, nice. That's actually coming up.
Rapids. Yeah.
That's lovely.
The last few years I've been going to the Detroit Motor City one. But we used to go to Grand Rapids. I mean, I live, just for the audience, just so you know, I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. So I realistically, I can do one convention in Michigan. So I picked the biggest one, is basically what but I'm from Michigan originally. So I'm, dyed in the wool. I was born and raised in Flint. I'm a huge Lions fan. Most of my life has caused me a great deal of suffering. But I will tell you this, that I'm richly enjoying what's happening with the Lions. It is so wonderful to feel good about your team.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. I love it. Yeah.
Marvelous.
We had a lot of conversations last season during the thing, and we were crushed the last game, but that's fine because we're going to come back stronger this time. Let's go. We're going for it.
I got over that loss in the NFC Championship faster than I ever expected because it was such an amazing year that it was hard to feel bad. I couldn't look back and say, oh, I feel bad.
Yeah, I know. You're just kind of like, you're just proud of them. You're like, yes.
Yeah, I was. I was so
finally.
Like, this is what it's like to have a good team. It's so cool.
It's so exciting when you go downtown too, and you see the Ford Field like completely lit up, and you see the immense amount of people going there and just screaming and yelling. It's so loud all over there.
And we've got a Redskins fan I see in the chat here. Now I will say this to you. You have a very good-looking rookie quarterback. That I think is cause for lots of hope in Washington. Yeah. Great fan base there. Lots of tradition with that team. Saw some great. I was a huge fan of John Riggins back in the day in the Hogs. Holy cow, they were a great running team. Yes. So yes, stick with your Redskins. Or what are they now? They're the Commanders, right?
Oh yeah, they changed it up. I think they're might be trying to change it again, or there's something happening with that team. I know that, but Six actually said he would do a Stephanie Bunny costume.
There you go. Yeah,
that would be fun. You should really do that.
I'm very close friends with Richard Rivera, who's the writer of Stephanie Bunny. I'm a fan of that title. I always carry it on my table.
And, felt furries in the ether. And here I am. Listen, I have seen more people pass out in furry outfits at cons than anything. There was one time in Baltimore. My God.
Yeah. The only worst one than that has got to be that Batman outfit. Like I've seen guys, they're wearing that rubber.
The actual rubber one, not the foamy one. Oh, man. There was one time in Baltimore at Otakon. It was probably 105.
Ugh.
And they were the ambulance people had to stay like near the con because we would just be walking around and they'd just be like plop because they were just so overheated. And I think at that time everybody just gave up and took all their cosplays off because they couldn't even
How
handle
long ago was this?
I want to say 2016.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even that long ago. And Tate, yes, Tate, remember you? He goes, wait, is that the human embodiment of Scout Comics? Just might be. He's right there.
A
little bit.
I'm editorial director for Scout, so I've edited a lot of the titles, including Stabby Bunny. Not all of Stabby Bunny, but I am the current editor of Stabby Bunny. So yes.
Update. My grandfather started Cauchy Brothers. I can't even read right now. On South Saginaw Street in Flint.
Yeah, no, like I said, I was
nice.
born and raised in Flint. Then I was about 10 years old, moved out to Millington. I don't know if you know where that is. It's on the way towards Frankenmuth, Vassar,
Okay.
that area. But I did the first 3 years of my high school at Flint Powers, Luke M. Powers there. So a lot of love for Flint. I've watched Flint go through an awful lot. And I feel a lot of compassion for that city. And, you know, one of the things that's been nice is I've been coming back to Michigan is seeing Michigan as a whole starting to do better, you know, like seeing, I'm a big craft beer fan. So, you know, all the good things that are happening in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
That. But I think Michigan has got so much going for it. It's a great state.
They're northern Florida.
Yeah,
like
we joke about this all the time.
Northern
Florida and Michigan actually have an incredible amount of things in common.
It's the same state. It's the same state, just mirror, like the mirror.
Except for we're a lot warmer.
Yeah,
we're a
lot warmer, lot moister.
So much they have in common.
It
like,
is.
Culturally.
It's stunning.
Like,
it's both peninsulas. Water is very important in the sports and things on the water. Fishing, hunting, big things. Big agricultural states. States that have, you know, megalopolis cities, but when you get off those cities, I mean, you start driving across the state of Florida, you'll see what Florida really is on the interior.
Nice.
And it's rural, you know, it's literally cowboys and oranges. That's what you're talking about.
Cowboys and oranges.
Actual
you
cowboys.
would not believe how much cattle is raised in
goodness.
Florida. You would not believe it.
Well, you talked about like having like, you know, Europeans and like people from around the world that come into here, like, cowboys are actually real. Like they actually exist. I've worked with them before. Like worked with a couple that have switched to being plumbers.
Wow.
Yeah. And Michigan people do know about I-75. Yeah. It's very
this is also true. That's what we usually take when we go down to the Florida. I remember we did that. Oh man. I think it was a 4th grade trip. We went to Disney World or Land. Which one's in Florida? I get to remember that.
Disney World.
Yeah. Disneyland's in California.
Yeah.
We did that. We
that.
got one in Japan too, but I don't know what they call that one.
There's one in China, one in Paris.
Yeah.
I only knew.
Or is it Hong Kong? One of the two. It's China.
There's a couple over that way. Yeah.
The mouse is doing a great job.
What are the odds of getting stabbed if I go to a conference?
Now, this depends, Jay. Are you at a horror convention where you're trying to? Because that's what we do there. We bring,
we could probably work something out for you.
I know if that's what you're looking for. I mean, I have lots of prop knives everywhere, so we can work that out. Yes, right. Knives made out of cheese. Oh, they would melt.
I don't know what that's about, but yeah.
I don't know. They would melt.
More of a Wisconsin thing, I would say, with the whole knives and cheese.
That might be completely true. It's a Wisconsin thing. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of the Lions in Wisconsin, how purifying was that to be able to go to Wisconsin and beat them in Lambeau Field? Oh my God.
Oh, the best. That is
just wonderful. I just send a knowing text to my friends in Wisconsin.
It was. I love when we go anywhere and we do that, and they look kind of just stunned on their face.
Exactly.
But also,
but you're the Lions. You're supposed to be wretched.
You're not supposed to be good. But also, I love our fans that go to away games and are so energetic at the away games. I love seeing that. That's how you know you have Lions pride. Let's go, people.
There you go.
Definitely. And here you have, you're absolutely covered by David Mack. So lovely. I love the colors that he's done this.
We actually have, I'm going to give you the insider view of our office here, but if you look up there.
Wait. Hold on. Let me make you bigger again. There we go.
That's the originals right there. Those are David Mack originals from that cover. So we're really proud of that. And I will say this. I was a big fan of David Mack for a long time. He's my favorite comic book artist. And then right after him, Mike Mignola. But what was really amazing about meeting David Mack is that he is an extremely kind person, very nice person. It's rare that you meet a hero and they turn out to be better than you imagine them to be. And he's definitely in that category. One of the coolest things that ever happened to me was I was sitting on the couch watching television with my wife, and when he was working on that cover, he texted me. And I'm like, looked over at my wife and I was like, David Max just texted me. That's where we're at right now. I was like, I just got a text from David Max. That's cool. Yeah, so there's still plenty of geekery to go. Yeah, very much so.
Perfect. No, I love this cover so much. I'm gonna go back over here. It's so pretty. I love his watercolor technique.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I love it. He does a lot of cool line work in that.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite take on the shepherd's face that we have. Like, I think that he did a great job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so focused too. Like the expression that he has.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. It looks really nice. And I love how Legio is just behind him, but I love how it goes from like that blurriness to like the different colors like merging together. That's very cool. It's very ethereal. I love that.
Yes.
That's really nice. And then down here, are these the covers for 4? Oh no, it's volume 2.
That's volume 2, and that is Riccardo Bercielli. And for those of you who may not be familiar with that, Riccardo was the artist on DMZ, Vertigo's DMZ, which they made into a television series. And if you haven't read that, I recommend DMZ. It's very good.
And this is the issue that takes place with all the different cultures and the different
exactly.
warriors.
This is the hospital in the afterlife. Yeah.
This is, so for those of you who've been around since the beginning of the stream, this is my personal favorite volume. Is the Tether. The other one,
Path of Souls.
Sorry, not the Tether, the Path of Souls. This is my favorite, but I go back and forth between this and the Burning Maid, which you guys will eventually get to.
Well, that's volume 5 he's talking about. It hasn't come out yet.
I'm also a big fan of
DMZ is amazing, and it's such a long running, the amount of work that he did in that series is just staggering. But because since that series, DMZ imagines a future where the United States has been in a civil war, and the island New York there is basically like a demilitarized zone between the two different factions, and so there's a lot of Riccardo was drawing a lot of military things, and so I said, since this is dealing with so much military issues, would you consider doing a cover? And he sent this, and I was like, oh God, this is definitely it, because he really got that, the ghostly component of this and the diversity of different soldiers from different periods of cultures.
Yeah,
he nailed the Legio in the background there too.
Yeah, I see that, like the glow of the eyes is fantastic. Yeah, he nailed like the culture, the time periods, but also like that hauntingly ghostly vibe to it. And this is like cool. I like the weird elongated jaws.
Yeah,
spooky. I like that a lot. And then this here's our last volume, which is the Valentine and
that's Victor Santos.
Yes.
Victor Santos is famous for doing Polar, the series Polar, with Dark Horse, and that's kind of like, it's very dark, gritty, crime noir type Sin City vibe. And he's also an extremely nice person. I really like Victor. I had the pleasure of doing some editing for him, and I've maintained that relationship, and he's very humble. He's had, like, Polar was made into a movie starring Mads Mikkelsen on Netflix. So yeah, I mean, he's had tremendous success in his career, but when you talk with him, he's very approachable, very kind. And when he does covers for small creators like us, he prices it in a very modest way. And you're getting this amazing art, for, much less than what it's really worth, So I was just really, really grateful that he did this for us.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and once again, the characters in this book were fabulous. I loved this as a read. So I loved all of the volumes that you guys had, because they're collected edition volumes of different stories. I thought it's a very fun read. And here's your team. Oh, look.
Yeah, look. There's Berto.
There's Berto right there. And look at your saucy photo here. Yeah. It's nice.
Very demure.
Very respectful. There you go. And then Jaime.
Oh, there's your artist. Yeah. Very nice. He did some very cool work. I've seen him around some other things too.
He's done over 200 of the 600 pages. He did 73 with the Valentine, and then 131 or 32 with the Tether. So he's over a third of the Shepherd has been done by him.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's amazing.
And then Juan Torres. Juan is a great guy. He is a very accomplished horror writer, and he writes other stuff as well. But he did The Suicide Forest. He did The Veil.
Ooh, okay.
Suicide Forest. I'm trying to remember. I want to say that was IDW that did that. And The Veil, I think, was Image that published that. He did Nancy in Hell for Image. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Straight Jacket, Roman Ritual. He had a publishing company out of Spain called Amigo. And he's no, that's actually a jar of pickles.
I was trying to zoom in to figure out what it is, but he's got a very cool Invisible Man comic book shirt on as well.
Does,
so this dude's got cool stuff and his pickles. Those must be some good pickles.
I genuinely like him so much. Really like him.
Lovely. And then down here, we have another member of the family. Hello. She is very well accomplished, let me tell you. If you just read all this stuff here, I like how you and your children are very much into like learning in school, and I love that. That's so cool.
Well, hers is really a funny story because she got into Japanese. Her interest in Japanese language and culture was through anime and manga.
Yeah.
And really all of the other things, as she read that and enjoyed the videos and the programs and stuff like that, she began learning just because of curiosity, learning bits and pieces of Japanese language, and found that she enjoyed that. So she ended up studying Japanese language and culture as her undergraduate at Central Florida. And then she went to the University of Michigan, much to my chagrin, because I'm going to be dogmatic here. So everyone understands I am go green Spartan. Okay. I am not a Wolverine fan, but she decided she was going to do this and commit this heinous act of going to the University of Michigan. But anyway, she went there. She loved it. She loved the University of Michigan, loved being in Ann Arbor. And, but she started studying art, Japanese art and culture, but around the atomic bombs. They were making the art as protest against the continued presence of nuclear, weapons, and also atomic energy in general. I mean, think about it. We've been joking earlier in the stream about Godzilla. Godzilla is simply a metaphor about the atomic weapons and their continuing destruction in Japan. I mean, obviously that's way darker than what we normally, think about with Godzilla, but she ended up getting involved in the atomic energy and nuclear energy. And now she's doing her second master's degree at Middlebury, where she's working on nuclear proliferation issues, and in particular relationship to Japan. And she's done traveling to Japan and also to Europe, Czechoslovakia and Austria to visit, nuclear sites and stuff like that. So it's really evolved. And all that started out with her interest in manga and anime, which, by the way, if I took you up to her room, you'd see that that's still going strong. She's a ridiculous Pokemon fan. She loves Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. She loves.
I have a whole Pokemon shelf right here.
So as scholarly as she is, she hasn't given up on manga or anime at all. She loves that stuff.
No, that's fascinating that they do that. And also, if you have ever looked up like the lore in Japan, it is so fascinating. You get into like the yokai and all of their myths and legends. It's so fascinating. It's so good. Yes, A1 yes, he does.
I can't read that, but I bet she could. My daughter would be able to read that without difficulty.
I can't read it either, but I have a feeling it says something about Kpop loves hot dogs is what I'm going to assume that says coming out of A1 right there. And yes, a Weebery is a gift.
Weebery is a gift.
You're not wrong. And
but she loved Japan. She loved going there, loved being in Japan.
I would love to go there, yes.
She said her favorite part of going to the language school, and she was there for 10 weeks in the summer, was actually just meeting regular Japanese people on the street and having just human conversations with them about life.
Thanks, Tate, by the way. Like, I'm not sure about the other two on the team, but not the other two. Not sure about, him, and my sister on the team. The other guys are solid.
Okay.
Dang. Yeah, but yeah, you have a really good quality. Look, I told you, I kind of knew it already. I didn't even have to read this. I knew this was gonna happen there. No, it's amazing. Yes, yeah, Tate, what's happening? No, this is such a fun read. It's good. You get a lot of feels when you read this too. Let me refresh this. I don't want to go all the way back to there. We go. Come on, there's so many scrolly bars. Oh, look, you got one more backer while we were sitting here. Nice. There you go, backers.
Yeah, thank you.
Whoever did that, thank you. And since we're up here, do you want me to play your trailer since we're here?
Sure, if you want.
All right. I mean, it's about a minute long, anyways. Let's do. I think it's terrible. Let's see. Okay. And I like this because it shows some extra art that's happening in here too. So, can you still hear me now?
I can.
Sometimes it mutes me. I don't know why it does this. All right. Let me make this big. Let's watch this because I love a lot of the art that you have in your trailer here.
And we also have a trailer of Berto. This is me, but we have a trailer of Berto too.
Oh, nice. I don't think I've seen that on the page. Maybe that's on like a update page.
It's going to be one that I run on the social media as well.
Oh, cool. Check out. Well, I dropped all your links below, so hopefully we'll be able to see that. I'll share that around when I see it posted. Cool.
Hello, I'm Andrea Molinari, and I'm the co-writer and co-creator of the Shepherd graphic novel series published by Scout Comics. Team Shepherd is gearing up for our next Kickstarter campaign, which focuses on The Shepherd, Volume 4, entitled The Tether. Our goal? Simple. To raise funds to print a hardcover volume of this 131-page romantic gothic horror story. The Tether can be summarized as follows. For the past 2 years, the deceased Val Miller has been rescuing troubled souls in the scene. Fighting alongside his father, who's taken up the mantle of the Shepherd, Val's mission has shown him the horrifying, strange, and even beautiful parts of the afterlife. Now, deep regret is starting to eat away at Val. Mourning the life that he can never have, Val restlessly wanders the scene. Then he encounters Maria, a young woman hunted by monstrous entities. Stepping in to save her, Val finds that Maria is the girl of his dreams. But who is Maria? What brought her to the scene in the first place? And what nightmares lurk in the shadows of the afterlife?
That was such a well put together trailer. I love that.
Well, thank you. That was actually put together by a friend and another member of Team Shepherd, Marcus Guillory. Marcus is the head of design at Scout Comics, but also a fan of Shepherd and close friend of mine. So.
Oh, it's very lovely. I really loved how the ink spots moved in and out for the panels. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Hot Dagu Aru. Domo arigato. Misu hot. Oh my God, you guys are dorks. You guys are like the biggest dorks I know. So let's go over your tiers because I love doing that. I love seeing what's available. So if you just want to support without getting anything, boom, you just plop that in there, starting at $1. And then here's something cool. You get Into the Scene, which is what is this? A DRM-free PDF download. Ooh. Of the Shepherd Volume 1, Issue 1 for $5. Very nice. You get a digital thank you too in your name. Very cool. Let's see what else is happening. Oh, you get a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Link to a soundtrack. That's awesome. I love that. Then you get the digital version here. And how many pages is this volume?
Well, the story is about 132 with the extra essays that we have and art galleries. It's about 160 pages.
Oh, wow. So $10 is a pretty good deal for a digital copy. That's awesome. Yeah. It's also lovely. You get that gorgeous, you get to see the art in that. If you can zoom in on that, that's fantastic. Let's see. And then choose your copy of the Tether Issue 1. So, okay. Ooh, look at these covers here. Let me just.
Yeah, they're the different variant covers. We had 4 different covers. And you get to pick for that tier. You get to decide which one you want, and we'll autograph it.
Oh man, those 2 covers there, wow, that's such a gnarly thing when you have the 2 characters there with the wolf in the background, but the cemetery, and then here you just have these lovely couple moments. Oh, that's so cool.
I know.
Of the 4, I like the second the best.
The green one?
Like this,
or,
the green one?
Yeah.
Oh,
By
that
the
green
way,
one is so good. Yeah.
the green one is actually done by the same artist who did the cover for the graphic novel. The one of the yin and yang kind of vibe to it with the romantic.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Nice.
his name is Luca Merli. He's an Italian artist.
Oh, I'm gonna have to find that guy. Follow him. I love seeing really cool art like that. And the other thing that I wanted to say too is that you don't really see it on the page, but like as you're reading between the chapters, you get that like black and gray arts piece. I thought that was absolutely just super lovely. I love that. That was such gorgeous added between like the different breaks between the chapters in there.
That's Marcus. That's our production guy who did that for us. I love the way he puts together the volumes. He did volume 3 for us as well, and I'm just really pleased. We talked about it, and because we're both big fans of Hellboy, he kind of stylized the vibe as kind of copying the vibe of Hellboy, because we just adore Hellboy.
Speaking of amazing backstory and lore, Hellboy has some fantastic stuff going on there, and I love the creature designs in the entire series are phenomenal.
I'll tell you, yeah.
The Crooked Man is out streaming now on devices, so I want to watch that sometime this week. So yes, we need to get on that. Yeah,
I told him I'd love to watch that together with him, because I just and also in addition to that, there's a documentary that was made about Mike Mignola himself.
Oh yeah, I actually have it here. It was on Indiegogo not too long ago.
Very cool.
Here, I'm gonna show you. There we go.
Oh man,
this is probably. Let me take this out of here. This is probably one of the coolest transitions lenticular covers I've ever seen in my entire life. It goes full on black and white to the. Let me see if I can do that.
I see it. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's literally one of the best. Like, it's seamless too. Like, you know how you get lenticulars and the super. None of that. It's complete shine. Yeah. I've never seen anything like that. It's so fascinating. But beautiful. I haven't seen this yet. I can't wait to actually watch it because I heard really good things about that.
And I will tell you this is an opinion that I have. I'll just toss it out there for consideration. I think in the end, people will look back and think that the accomplishments of Mike Mignola surpass those of somebody like Stan Lee.
Ooh,
and I'll tell you why, for a number of reasons. Number one, Stan, if you go back and actually read his writing, it's not that great. Okay. Now, in his defense, he's basically writing to 10-year-old boys. Okay.
Oh, that's also true.
He's an idea man and he's a pitch man. That's really his strength. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas Mike Mignola obviously is a great artist, but he can also write, which is very rare to find that all in one. And if you look at the sheer size and diversity of the universe that he's created, because it isn't just Hellboy, it isn't just BPRD, it's Lobster Johnson, it's Abe Sapien, it's Baltimore, which is actually my favorite of all the stuff he's done. Baltimore, yeah. I mean, it's so amazing, and the sheer volume of production that he's created in his careers is
so much fun. Yeah.
It is truly a universe unto itself, and it continues to grow. He's just prolific. It's just amazing.
So much fun. I love the characters that he created. I love the worlds that he created. To me, it's fascinating. I loved all of that lore. And I really love, like, this has got cool line work in it. I really love how Guillermo did the first 2 movies, because he did all those practical effects. That night market scene is probably one of my favorite things of all time. When they walk into that night market. Oh, it's so good. I love that. Yes. Yeah, no, he had some fabulous creatures. Yeah. He had so much creatures in lore. I really love the second one too, the Golden Army, because I love some of the creatures that they were talking about in there, because I read about so many of those creatures in the film that they had. But yeah, I love that stuff. It's so cool. Very nice. But yeah, if you want to choose one of those are awesome. Those covers are so gorgeous. They're so much fun to see that. And you're shipping anywhere in the world, which is fantastic. So let's see, you got $10 in the US and $30 outside, which is actually not bad, because if you're going to get one of the heftier volumes, that's a pretty good deal, because you're getting out there.
It's so expensive. Oh my God. It's so expensive to send. We only had 3 or 4 international things, and it actually cost me more. Like, I sent one to England, and I just decided to give that person she bought a copy of volume 1 and volume 2, the hard copies of those volumes. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to give her a copy of 3 because it literally would cost more to mail volume 3 to her than it would to buy the volume. I'm like, so I'm just going to give this to you because I think you'll enjoy the first 2 and I want you to be a fan. So I'm going to give you a 3. And I did it, but I was stunned at how expensive it was. And we sent several to like Canada as well. Dear Lord, for those Canadians in the chat, it is expensive to send stuff to you. Holy
how do you
cow.
do this? Which I don't understand because it's not that expensive to go from Canada here. It's literally the same thing. And they don't even have to fill out that many freaking forms when they send stuff. It's crazy. But so I tell people this all the time, especially people doing their first time campaigns and they don't have digital. I'm like, you're really doing a disservice to yourself if you don't put digital on there. Because most of the time the international people will buy the digital because if they're going to go pay for shipping, it's usually double to triple time the amount of what the book is on there. And they would rather back the digital just to read the story. And then that's just going to get people hearing more about your work if they're able to read it digitally.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Oh, your name is Luca? I didn't know that. I've been calling you A1 Sauce for like a year. But yeah, shipping is going nuts. What did they do? Just up that like last month anyways here in the United States? And the Canada shipping cartel. Yeah, I know. I do really like the things that like pirate ship are happening because you're getting a little bit of a discounted thing and you're still using the post office.
Sure.
Which is nice. Dang, for real, it's cheaper to get games, comics, etc. from Japan than it is to get stuff from just across the border. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, on the bright side is if you like the Japanese authors and such, you'll be able to get them at a reasonable rate, which is at least some benefit there.
Dang, that's insane. And then let's see. These are your digital versions. So, for $30, you're going to get all 4 of the collected volumes for $30.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. Good. That's a good deal for digital because that is what, 130, 160 each book?
Yeah.
For how many pages? Yeah, 445. Yeah, that's a crazy amount of literature that you're going to get for a book. Let's see. If you want the signed and numbered hardcover, $35. That's actually a really good deal. I picked up the last one that you did around Valentine's Day, and I love the quality of that. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It feels amazing too. So I know there's a lot of people in chat that like that cool texturized feel on a book, and that's so much fun. I like that a lot. So $35. There you go. But yeah, you're gonna get cool stuff. And then let's see, 50 copies. Ooh. Oh, you're both going to sign it. That's awesome.
Right.
Nice.
And then I brought him to him. He lives, he's with me today because, we had the hurricane. And so it was going to hit we thought the Tampa area, and he lives just south of Tampa in a place called Brandon. And so his mom, and we called him up and basically asked him to come to get out of harm's way. And we're really glad. It's been wonderful just having him, for a few days. And of course it worked out because he could actually be present for this.
It worked out because you're putting it into work.
Actually putting in the work. Like I did this. So like we have like gray versions of these.
Oh, that's right.
Like 3D printed. But Dad saw me like painting the Warhammer 40K minis that I do. And he talked me into doing this for us. So like we already sold this. Like I finished this and then you put it on up there basically the next morning. I think it was this morning. Yeah. And it sold within an hour.
Within an hour, gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time that you were here, you had the prototype for that.
Yeah.
No, that came out great. It looks painted. It looks really good.
Oh, it did. He did a really nice job. I was really proud of him.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see it go so quickly.
Oh, I love that. Because even if you're just a fan of wolves, that's a cool pickup. Plus, that's a huge size for a 3D printed. That's nice.
It's 11 inches long and like 6.5, 7 inches tall. And then can you grab the shepherd? Grab the one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have you have the other one too.
Yeah. These are 3D prints. So that's the shepherd right there. And this staff comes out. So you can, it's really, we did it. I mean, it's cool to take it out back, but we did it mostly because when you ship it, being able to take this out reduces the chance of breakage.
Yeah.
So it just makes good sense. to do that. But this is a 9-inch statue, and it's made out of resin. I'm no expert on this, but you can make these statues, 3D statues, out of like a filament or resin, and resin is much more substantial and heavier, more sturdy.
Yeah.
And we wanted something that would be sturdy. So.
The details on that are amazing. Like even when you see like the way that the hood is folded.
Oh yeah. I guess
it's so good.
Try to give people a little bit.
Yeah, like the folds alone and the clothing are just fantastic. And I love the little swoop of the tie.
Oh yeah.
It's emotion. Nice.
So
yeah,
we're really happy with it. And unpainted like that, it sells for like 140. It's on both those figures unpainted are on the their add-ons on the campaign.
Yeah, and I also want to say shout out to Froggy. I hope you're safe on your journey while you're moving, because let's say you say you're hanging out in Atlanta until Sunday. Yeah, be careful out there, Froggy. I know you're mid-move at the moment, so yeah, I know it's treacherous times, because a couple of our friends that were supposed to be with us for C3, they couldn't make it because they all lost power, and I don't think half of them still have their power back, and it's been almost a week. That's crazy. Yeah, stay safe, guys. And this shirt is also really equally cool. You have a glow in the dark.
It's a glow in the dark shirt. Now I don't know why you need this, but it is very cool. it's like the practicality of it. It's like I don't really know why I need a glow in the dark T-shirt, but it is very cool. And so they're
camping. Would look sweet camping. You have that on there.
Yeah,
that'll look dope. If you're going to a magical LARPing event and you want to cast a spell on somebody, you could just glow your shirt at them.
You want to pick up some ladybugs? Or,
that's right. That's right.
Well.
That's right. If you want to go collecting souls on your own time, there you go. You already have the staff. You don't need the staff with you. Many things that you can do with this. Yes.
So you can see me coming. Yeah.
That's right. I know that's really cool. I like the way that the splatter effect too. So glow in the dark would look really nice on that.
Yeah.
So for $40, that's pretty good. And let's see. Do you know what shirt sizes are available for this?
They're all available. So whatever.
Available.
Yeah. Whatever size you need, it's not a problem.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that because we have 2 versions of it.
Yeah, there's actually three different ones that are available.
The green looks cool. I like the way that you did the circles on that. Hold on, look at that. That's neat. I like that circle effect thing. It looks cool. Very nice. What about Todd? Listen, Jay's in Canada. I'm pretty sure Todd McFarlane can see him jumping around from anywhere he wants to. I know. It's right there. Laser tag. Yeah, all these things. Laser tag. Scaring friends at night. LARPing. Yeah. All these things are what you need. So technically, look at it. You could get the green shirt and your friend can get this version and you could battle each other in the most epic LARPing event of all time. Or you can get this one, just a straight up bundle.
When you get the bundle, you get the white one.
Ooh, solid white. Nice.
If somebody really wanted to get that bundle with one of the other shirts, we can make that happen too. I mean, we want people to be happy with the stuff that they get. That's the key.
Perfect.
And we can arrange things in ways that help people and they're comfortable with.
Okay. So I assume just message, if you back it, just message on via Kickstarter.
We'll be in communication anyway, because we make a point of thanking each donor, each contributor, personally, and just we want to set up that relationship so that if they need something in particular, they can ask us. Excuse me.
Sword fight friendly attire.
Exactly. Sure.
Yeah. You can all the things that you need to battle somebody. And $65, and it says you're saving $15 by if you get the bundle right here with the shirt.
It's cheaper. We wanted to offer it a little bit cheaper because we thought that people might enjoy getting the T-shirt along with the book just for fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like that. And then here, the journey continues. You're going to get each single issue here, plus the combined volume right here for volume 4.
That's for the collector. You want all the variant covers plus the hardcover volume itself.
Yeah. And 85 is actually not bad because that's what you said, 160 there, and then you got each individual volume here, which is really neat. But I love those 2 covers. Those 2 covers are fun. They're so pretty. That's a good deal. I like that. And then let's see what shipping is, because this might have gone up. No, it didn't even go up. Oh, it did go up. It went to 50 for the other ones. Yeah, but no, this is a good, cool tier. I like that. And then this one here, $105, you're going to get all 4 of are these hardcovers?
There's hardcovers on 3 and 4. So in other words, the David Mack, the white cover, and then the red and
here,
blue.
let me do that.
Those are paperbacks because we didn't do hardcovers at that point. Hopefully, we'll eventually have hardcovers there too.
Yeah,
We're trying to eventually get all hardcovers, but all things in time, basically.
yeah. So that's
We had no idea
$105.
how beautiful the hardcovers would be in comparison. So now we're kind of hooked on the hardcovers, kind of like those. So.
Surely you have the high ground. Yeah, well, that is because you're like 6'10" or something. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Beware. So did Han. Guys are nerds. So yeah, that's a huge amount of, like I said, reads just to pick these up because you get a lot of stories in here, and they're all slightly different, which is cool, but they all kind of interact with each other like that. It's very fun. You only have 29. Well, you have 28 left because somebody picked one of those up, which is a really cool deal. And then this is cool. Wayward Soul cameo level 1 for $150. You're gonna get a cameo in the background of, let's see, probably volume 6. Very cool. You also get a high-res digital image of your cameo along with a signed print of your character, a special credit in the Shepherd Volume 4, which is this volume here, and a signed copy of the Volume 4 hardcover. Wow, that's a huge chunk for $150. You're getting a lot of cool stuff in there.
Those are very popular. It's really interesting how popular, like, people really enjoy getting made into being a character in the book, and we've really had fun doing it too.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite part of the campaigns. Or like you can draw yourself like on the cover type of thing. I love the interaction with the fans on those. Some people like really love that stuff, and I think that's cool to see yourself like as a character in a book. That's fun.
Yeah,
it's really cool. And there's only 10 of those, so get on that, guys. And this one for $250, you're gonna get all books. The 2 of the trade paperbacks, the 2 hardcovers. So that's in order here. So the 2 trade paperbacks, the 2 hardcovers there. And then you're gonna get
these
the
are all issue
all
ones. That's what those are.
Ooh.
The issue ones.
Dang.
You get the trade and its corresponding issue 1 for each one of those.
Let's see. Yeah, so these are the trades and then the hardcovers, and these are the issue ones for these. And that's that gorgeous black and green cover there. Yeah. This cover here, though, this is gnarly. Who did this art
That's
here?
Luca Pancreoli. He actually did the design for the statue of the shepherd and the statue of Legio. So it's his artwork that our 3D images are based on. And that's him right there, that black and white of the shepherd and Legio. That's Luca's work right there.
That was, I had that up here somewhere. Oh, that might be the first thing. That one right there.
That one right there.
That's so good. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can definitely tell like the details in like the hood and the way he has it on there that go onto the statue. That's really nice. They did a great job on that. That translated really well into the printing of that statue.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It really is. It's amazing what they can do with the 3D statues.
Oh, I've seen some really intricate things. Have you ever seen the ones where they do the 3D printed ones that are kind of like that metal sheen one? So like they'll do like the old school like dragons, and then you kind of like snap them apart and they move.
Yes, I've seen that.
That's fascinating to me. I think that's amazing. Yeah.
It's very creative.
What is up, Phil? Also, he is in your hometown of the Lansing, near the stadiums, by the way. Not your hometown, but you know.
Nice.
The greenhouse, all that fun stuff. Yeah. Way to go, Phil. Let's go. Good times, Phil. And then this one here.
Yeah, that one looks more curious. That's like a main character. So you actually become the face for a main character in the story.
Wow. So this is Maria and the tiger that are over there talking. So, wow. So you're going to get guaranteed to have appearances in at least 3 issues in the next arc. Through 1 or more, maybe a ghost. You also get a high res.
In other words, you might be dead. Your character may, in fact, be dead through most of the story or part of the story.
You know, that's even better.
Those stories that we tell, which is full disclosure. So you yourself hopefully will not be dead at the time, but you know.
No. But
so it's really not our problem.
Exactly.
Well, you know, maybe if you do, you can come back and like sneak in a little story in it, you know, while they're dreaming or something, and then like have it be made into a future issue. You don't know. That might happen.
We've gone off dreams before.
That's for sure.
So you also get the high-res digital image of your cameo, along with a signed print of your character, along with a special credit in this version, along with a signed copy of the hardcover for Volume 4. or the trade paperback and signed and personalized Shepherd script. Ooh, very cool. So that is a 1-of-1 deal. That's actually pretty neat because you're going to be in, what is it, 3 volumes?
That'll be in, that's
At
volume
least 3?
6, which I'm writing right now, by the way. And that's going to be a 4-issue story. It's called Ghost Herder.
Ghost Herder. Oh, I'm down for this already. I like that.
Yeah, it's set out in Montana, and that's all I shall say.
Yeah. So Awesome One, aka A1 Song, A1 Sauce, also says, so we could get a death scene.
Oh, surely, yeah. Depending on what character you turn out to be, yeah. Absolutely.
Very nice. That's people are big fans of that. I don't know what it is, but they like being in books where they're dying, but it's immortalized like forever. Like I don't know, they like that.
I don't know. We should have a conversation about
kind of fun.
It's like a universal male fantasy of like dying in some last stand. It's been talked about. We've all done that. It's fine.
Down with the herder. Yeah, the Ghost Herder sounds pretty good. I like that. And let's see. And then over here, ooh, $2,000 publication masterclass. This is like a one-on-one with Andrea here.
And basically what that is if you want to make a comic, what that is you'd basically be hiring me to be your project manager and editor to walk you through the process of helping you write the script. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to write the script for you, but I'm going to kick your butt and make sure that you write a good one. And remember, I was a professor of literature. So I've been around, I did 12 and a half years of teaching at the university level. 7.5 of that was at the grad school level. So I know a thing or two about working with students on writing projects. And that's what I do now as an editor. I've edited over 220 different projects. Now, I'm not talking about individual issues. I'm talking about titles, complete story title, multi-issued story.
Yeah.
So I've done it once or twice.
Just a few times.
Just a few times.
Yeah.
So that's basically what that is, though, is that if you want, so I would work with you to help you find the right artist. We'd work on your script, get your script polished and ready to go. Then we get our artists, we put together the creative team, all that stuff, and then help you make pitches to various publishers if that's the route you want to go.
I like that. That's actually super cool. And Jay is saying, die a hero before you live long enough to be a villain. And Froggy is coming in saying he'd rather start off as a villain and become immortal.
Wow, that sounds like a really good plan there. It's like super villain.
It's super villainy 101. This guy coming from Frog Brawler as his name. So
exactly. So this guy's already given it some thought. This is just the fruits of the meditation, really.
That's right. So yeah, for 2000, that's actually a pretty good deal. If you're getting like a lot of time with you, you're getting a lot of time working with all of this stuff, because this is really planning at its finest for like whatever it is that you want to do in a book, let's say. Plus, a lot of people don't even know where to go, first of all, to even start when they have a book and it's already done.
And that's the problem right there. Frankly, that's the biggest problem, because there are a lot of people out there that will take your money, to do the art for you. But here's the thing. If the art that they do isn't publishable, what do you got? Yeah. Now, if you don't care, if you just say, well, I'm going to self-publish no matter what, but if you're going to spend the money that it takes to do a comic book, and it does take money to do it, you might as well at least do it at a level that we have a shot to publish it. Why wouldn't you?
It's a learning curve. Like there's a huge learning curve with all of this stuff. Like it's the entire first book really was like a series of kind of like figuring out like when not to step on landmines, honestly, with a lot of this stuff. Yeah. Like I think, what is it, like 10 grand was it 10 grand or 2 grand? I think it was like 2 grand or something like that.
For what?
For the one artist that we ended up having to.
We spent about $4,500 on an issue that, we did issue 1 and then the artist quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was, it was a 5-issue story. So we kind of needed all the issues to look the same.
Yeah.
So we basically had to pay for issue 1 twice.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it is not unheard of. That actually happens kind of a bit where you have to go and redo like some earlier issues, because I'd say there's like at least 6 people I know of where they started with issue 1 or 2, and then the artist just like went MIA and they can't get in touch with the artist like at all anymore, especially if they're overseas.
And that's why, as an editor, I can help you with that, because I can say, okay, first of all, you have to be realistic. It is going to cost you some money. As it says here in the, Jay says, good art is not cheap. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. If you're going to pay the money, you need to have an artist who's a pro. And then what I mean by that, the definition of a pro is somebody who has a track record of getting shit done.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, is you have to have somebody who is a finisher. You can be great and do wonderful stretch of three to 5 pages and stuff like that. But if you can't finish the project, you're not doing me any good. I can't work with you, and I won't work with you anymore.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I put together a list of artists, and there are plenty of them out there that will do the job, that want to do the job. You have to come to a fair rate. You have to figure out what your budget's going to be, negotiate with the artist, figure out because you want them to be comfortable. You really do. You want them to be comfortable with the money that they're making, that they feel good about it. It's also got to be affordable. So you have to come to that place where you can both feel good. It's got to be a win-win, and then you have to figure out how you're going to get that money. It could be through a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, or taking a second job, or
sell drugs, dude.
Selling drugs.
Sell drugs.
Not selling.
Sell
drugs.
a lot of drugs. Don't listen to him. Sell drugs.
No, we're not advocating that. But anyway.
And he says coffee is for closers, which is fantastic because I have the link to your coffee product page that you still have from the last time.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like what Awesome is saying there is, if you have an artist who is a cover artist, then don't ask them to be an interior artist, because these are really kind of two different things. The work that is involved, interior artists do a ton. It's grueling, and it takes place. You have to be willing to work on a project for an extended period of time to get it done.
Yes.
One of these graphic novels is like a year or longer.
Yeah.
And
and cover artists are really important too, because remember, this is the way that I would have your people, and those of you who are actively doing comics, see if this resonates with you. Your cover gets people's attention. Yeah. And gets people to pick up the book. The interior art sells the book. Mm-hmm. And then your story as the writer gets them to come back and buy issue 2. And
for sure.
So the cover artist, getting a good cover artist is really important, but also having a good interior artist is, also, important. And I feel that's the way to think about it, is get the cover artist is going to get them to single out your book as opposed to all the other books on the shelf.
Yeah.
And then the interior one is going to close the deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is. People eat with their eyes. So like going to the cons, it's like, can't tell you how many times, like even when I've kind of stopped going. I don't really go to the cons very often anymore. But when I was going, it was basically like even the titles that I knew were great, like really well written. If their art wasn't good, it was way harder to sell them. Whereas like there were other ones that were, had beautiful art. The writing, it was enthusiastic.
Yeah, and there's a big problem too with people spending so much money to get the cover artist done to be so majestic, and they don't spend the same amount of time and effort for the interior pages. Yeah. Unfortunately, that happens, and you need to have both, really. And you need to have covers. I love portrait covers. I love those other ones, but I love the old school covers back in the day, 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s. It told a story of what was happening in the book. You had full-on interaction with characters. You had backgrounds. You had all that stuff. And that's what's missing. But that's what I love about your covers. They tell that, and I love that. Especially that green one, the graveyard ones. I love those. Those are my favorite ones. I love those big time. But yeah, you need something that's going to like really excite people to want to pick it up. But then you don't want to make them go, oh, when they open it. You want to make them go, oh, this is amazing also. I want to grab this too. Yeah, I've seen that happen both times. Yes, great words. Lots of folks have talent, but finishing work is a talent in itself. Yeah, you're not wrong. And if an artist picked up too many projects, they're going to get so far behind. So you got to really keep track of your artists as well too.
And I would tell you, like I always tell my people, if the artist quotes you a price that's too low and it feels too good to be true, it is too good to be true. You don't want that, because if the artist feels that you're taking advantage of them, they're not going to be as committed to the work. So you want to give a fair rate to them. Yeah. You want them to feel good about it. at the same time, the artist has to understand that the individual indie creator like us, or somebody publishing at a small press, they can't afford to pay what Marvel and DC. So there has to be a realistic understanding, and just to put this in perspective, we've been published with Caliber Comics out of Michigan and now Scout. And I want you to understand this. And I want you to hear this. We've never made money as writers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look, have we gotten royalty checks? Yes, we have. But if you spend, for example, $25,000 on volume 1 to produce it, and you make $1,500 in royalties, that's not making money. That's what we call losing less.
It's an expensive hobby. This is an expensive hobby.
It is. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
We understand that. We're at peace with that.
Yeah.
We love telling the stories. We don't begrudge it at all.
I talked to him about this even as a possibility, because it's what I did. If you are a writer and you enjoy the process of writing, but you also want to have art, and especially if money is a question, if money is a serious question for doing a whole graphic novel or even a comic, what I would instead point you towards is write prose novel, which is more work on you. Yeah. But you'll actually get it done, and then just get a few full page images done throughout the book, because the full page images are going to help you sell it anyway, especially if you really splurge on getting a good artist for those pages.
So an illustrated novel is what you're saying.
Because the thing is, if you just want to get a book out there, if you want to get your writing out there, you could spend $1,500 for a prose novel and get really good art on the cover, and then however many pieces that you get in there. Or you can spend thousands and thousands to do a graphic novel. If you just got it on you like that.
Here's what I advise people to is don't do a graphic novel to begin with. I would say if you were coming to me and say, hey, I want to write a comic book, I would say, okay, we're going to write a 24-page story, and that's it to start. And we can set up a budget for that. So you can do a 24-page story roughly in the 5,000 to 6,000 range, and do it with good art to get it good enough to get it published by a small press or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can do it, but that's how I would tell you to begin. I'd tell anybody to begin like that. Don't do what we did, 120-page graphic novel to come right out of the box.
We had no idea.
Stupid.
Again, that's
really dumb.
When it comes to that class that Dad was offering is the Kickstarter thing. It is literally just a lot of it's going to be the wisdom of we made that mistake. We did that. So here's how to not do that.
Exactly.
And it's not even just big decisions like that. It's going to be the little decisions too. But stuff like that, getting started, I really would strongly recommend, unless you're a doctor or you just you're your own artist, if you're your own artist, do whatever you want. But unless you're a doctor, you just make that, again, sell drugs. Whether you want to do it as a physician or the guy on the street, it's literally not my problem. Just do whatever you want. But to do the graphic novels, it's not cheap. So just be aware of that. I think it's fair warning.
Yeah, because you're in a couple years trying to get that developed and done and trying to get it started. So the other thing that I think is really helpful to that is people think, okay, I got a comic. Okay, I'm going to make it. They don't know the first thing about printing. They don't know the first thing about starting a Kickstarter. They don't know the first thing about shipping, all that stuff. I would say before you even start to even think about making your page, call every printer that you could possibly think of. Figure out what your rates are first, because you don't want to get screwed when you're coming up with your goal amount, because you also don't want it too high that you're not reaching your goal for the first time.
Right.
You got to build your base. You got to build all your stuff. You got to start kind of a little smaller and then work way bigger. But I would say 99.99% of people that run campaigns, either you're losing a little bit of money, or you're making the money that just came back. You're not actually making profit.
Yeah.
It's because you want to get your product out there. And I don't think people, when they go to Kickstarter or these campaign pages, realize that that's what's happening.
This is not your day job.
No.
This is not your day job. The amount of people who make it as creatives, I feel what do you call it? I'm very happy for them. People who have made it as creatives, but it's 1% of us. It's most of us go and work other jobs to support this.
Yes, this is also true. many artists are not storytellers. They are very much portrait flat. It takes a little bit of added effort to make it into an actual story or looking like it's part of a emotional thing. I saw. I know.
I'm giving great advice to these guys.
You're phenomenal.
My son.
He is giving up his career as an artist, and Eminem, who is the most #1 truly outrageous Eminem impersonator of all time, to go and start in the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, wow. Career change.
I'm really proud that we helped.
Well, when he's stacking bands, just remember this moment.
That's right.
Just remember this moment.
That's right.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. So as someone that is getting ready to launch a group Kickstarter for Tate here, well, you should always be nervous when you launch a campaign. That's going to happen.
We are too. Trust me, we are too.
It's a massive relief when they're done. And it's really like we're ready for anytime somebody gives. And it is a massive relief when it's done. It's like one of those things where getting into it, like, it is a huge help. Like having the Kickstarter campaigns, they are a huge help. They make a lot of this possible, but they're also a massive stressor. You got to be constantly on it. And then it's like when it's finally done, you are absolutely cracking open a couple beers, just relaxing, like where it's like awesome.
Until you have to do all the mail outs, which
it's
a lot of work too. But it is exciting too. It's sending stuff out always feels good,
It's fun.
Because I mean, ultimately, it isn't just about making the stories, but it's about readership. It's about people wanting to read the stories and enjoying them. Like, I'll tell you right now, I can't speak for Barrow. I mean, he can speak for himself, but just hearing that you liked Volume 4 made me really happy.
I did. I enjoyed it. It was really good. So that's the one we're talking about right now that we were here for the kick on. But it was. I really enjoyed the character interaction on that one. I also love seeing like the aspect of the different characters and like the lore behind why they're in the scene, which is interesting. I would love to see way more things exploration wise happening in there, because you could get anywhere you want what happened with that.
You can. And that's we've actually said that to each other. If you think about it, because it's the afterlife, any person who's ever lived and any culture that's ever existed is open season for stories. So what do you want to do?
Very true.
For a moment, we kicked around the idea of doing Caesar. I have kind of thought about it going forward, that I think it would be almost kind of fun going back and telling Caesar, you did nothing wrong. This was literally Brutus's fault. This was the other guys. This was Pompey. This was not you. You did nothing wrong. You were in front. Like,
yes. The excitement outweighs the nerves. Also, I don't. Okay, so for first time Kickstarter campaigning, I don't care what platform you're on, I don't think people realize like how much of a hustle it is the moment you go live on your campaign. Even if you're in pre-launch mode, from the time you're in pre-launch mode to that thing actually closes, it is 24/7 go doing these things, just posting your links everywhere, trying to get backers to get funded. So think about that too when you go to launch a campaign, because you're not just like, oh, it's on there. Oh, I'm going to get back. No time. No, you're constantly hustling all day. And this made me laugh so hard. Today's the first day of the rest of my life. That's right.
Jay, I got to tell you, Jay, I would love to meet you when I come up for City, because I think you'd be a lot.
You two would get along.
In and out of the afterlife.
There you go.
He is fine. She covered as Tate too. Yeah, so we have Tate and then we have Tate. So it's a full on Tate.
Exactly.
And Eddie happening moment here, but yes. No, I really enjoy the Shepherd as well. All the stories I've read so far, I've really, really enjoyed. I love the art. I love the back stories of all the characters. I love what's actually happening.
The Shepherd is based, and when he's alive, the story starts out in Detroit.
That's right.
So and the Valentine and its backstory, the Pit in Volume 3, they take place in Detroit. So I mean, that's where Volume 3, by the way, in case for those in the chat, it deals with his children that are left behind. And we find out in Volume 1 that his two young children, 6 and 11 respectively, age-wise, they have paranormal abilities. They can basically see the dead. And so Volume 3 involves telling stories about his young children that are still alive.
Yeah, that was a really good story. I enjoyed that one as well. Because the hardcover for that one was fantastic. And this is a preview of what it will look like in the hardcover form.
That is the plan.
It's so good. It's so good. And that was the volume 1 David Mack cover, which you
Yep.
can still get ahead. And this is the volume 2 cover. And this is the third one here. This is the two kids that you were talking about right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's Nico and Lexi. So
very cool. I also like the people guy. And these covers, these single issues for 4, which are fantastic. I love the cemetery vibes. Those are so cool. And then this is just so sweet and innocent. Like, oh, they're together. Yeah, that's cute. I really like that. And then you get some really cool shirts if you want to battle each other. That one's my favorite. I love that one. That one looks really cool. But yeah, you guys can have some fun. And if you want a bundle, you can get any. You can get any one of the shirts, by the way, with this, and you save some money, which is great. And then here's all of the 2 trade paperbacks, which is the soft covers, and then you get the 2 hard covers there in that bundle, which is pretty epic because that is a lot of reading. Those are over 100 pages each volume.
Yeah,
just glad that we've gotten this far.
Yeah, it's 130 pages for volume 1 in terms of story. 183 for volume 2.
Yeah.
It's over 100 for volume 3. That's the short one, and then 132 for 4. So it's a lot.
That volume 1 was originally 124, and then we added 12.
We added 12, yeah.
So it's 136. Yeah.
That's so cool. And this is the mega bundle. You're going to get the 2 trade paper.
Yeah, that's really kind of the fun collector's thing. And those are all the A covers. Just so you know, the issues on the bottom, the individual issues, those are all the A cover.
Oh, so cool. And then I'm going to click this for a second because I want to see what extra add-ons do you have, or do you have any?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. You got some buttons in here. You got extra shirts if you want. Ooh, printer plates. That's right. You have those glorious printer plates behind you.
Right.
Yes.
And those of you who are not familiar with what a printer plate is, hold on. I'll grab.
Yeah, show that off.
To show
those
you
are pretty
what
neat.
they look like. I've got them actually on the wall behind us. These are all printer plates back here, up here, back. And what a printer plate is, this actually is from the volume. It is, this happens to be issue 1, page 9. And these are metal plates that are part of a big sheet. Originally, they're part of a sheet, like say 4 foot by 4 foot sheet. And they are used by the printing process. And you have 4 colors. You've probably seen this before, CMYK. The C is black. The Y is yellow. The
it's magenta.
The magenta is the M, and then the C is cyan, or the blue. And you have one color of each of this plate exists in each of the 4 colors, and there's only one of it in existence. So as a collector's item, it's as rare as you get, and it's actually like a piece of industrial art that actually had a function. That it absorbed, took the ink, and then printed. This particular plate touched every page 9 that we printed of issue 1.
Those look fantastic.
And they're beautiful.
Framed. You can see them gorgeous. Yeah,
they're so addicting. It's like I only wanted to do a couple. You can't see this, but I have multiple covers. We have every cover of the Tether on the other side of the computer on the wall.
Gorgeous. Yeah. They're lovely.
So and we've got stuff I haven't even bought frames to, he's normally the one that does all the mounting of the frames up on the wall because he did it really well. And so I haven't bought the frames to pester him yet, but I shall. Yeah. I shall do.
This is a very good question from Tate. How do you get printer plates? Is that something you can request from a print company?
Yes, you can. Now the trick is, it just so happens that Scout's printing press is located, like its HQ is in Fort Myers. And Cape Coral is about 5 miles away. So our printer is very close. So these things, when they're in the big form, the 4x4 sheets, they're very heavy. They really are. Like by themselves, it's really innocent and light. But when you start accumulating them, they get heavy very fast. They're metal. They're metal. And so if you print at a printer that uses the 4-color methodology, the CMYK, and you're close, you can ask them if you can buy, or they may just give you the printer plates. And then, of course, you have to cut them yourself. And then you need to, to file because they can be razor sharp, by the way, on the edge, which is, not
so
good.
Bad. Yeah.
So you need to sand them down so that you can touch them without like slicing yourself open. or
Yeah.
using them as a ninja throwing star.
Well, that's what he
So-
was.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
actually
That's
could
ninja
very
star.
much well be.
Indeed.
Yes. And
I'm
they
glad
are
that
beautiful.
our minds are all, and they are,
Yeah.
Tate. They really are. They're beautiful. And like I said, they're very unique collectibles. And they're part of the history of that story, of that book.
Yeah.
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 So,
That's also
a bunch of them you can buy on the campaign.
Yeah, that's actually really fun. I love them. They're
Razor.
really cool art piece, and you don't actually see that often.
No.
Like sometimes, because not a lot of print companies stick with the printer plates, and that's also something too. Like somebody new starting out, sending stuff over to their printer, really speak with your printer to see what color format they use, because if you're doing everything in RGB, you're gonna have to translate that over to CYMK before you send it over there, because it's gonna be a blurry, grainy mess when you get that over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you have some really cool things happening here. You have the printer plates.
Statues that are there, the resin statues.
Yes. And you get the cover art as well.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. For 120. That's awesome. And the resin statues are fantastic. So if you want Legio the wolf or you want the shepherd, they're both 140. And those are large pieces.
They
Like
are. They're
11.
9 inches. The shepherd
Yeah.
is 9 inches tall. Legio is 11 inches long and like 6.5, 7 inches tall.
Yeah.
So he's big.
Yeah. And then you have more of the plates, just depending on what page that you wanted here, from which volume down here. Those are so cool. Then you can get the color ones, or if you want the entirety, printer plates, Tether 1, page 9. Yeah, these are so cool. Like here, let me see if I can open this just so you can see the different colors. Yeah, there you go.
Yep, that allows you to see. That's a page from issue 1, and you get to see it in all the colors.
Yeah.
And what we call that a the famous artist who uses the 4-color. He did the Campbell soup.
No.
Oh, Andy Warhol.
A Warhol. We call it a
Yeah.
Warhol. Yeah.
Nice.
When you have all 4 of the same page. That's what we call it. I was told to shave my beard, maybe a sharp plate will do. Yeah.
It probably would. Yeah.
That's one way of doing it. I wouldn't recommend it, but
And taking a ton of notes. Good. I'm glad you're taking notes.
sure,
And
if
then
it helps, I'm glad. If anything I say helps, I'm glad.
Get a pre-press guy or talk to one. That's also not a bad idea. If you're starting out for the first time, you really have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
That might be what you would want to do. But also you could take advantage of his, $2,000 super masterclass as well.
Yeah, there is that. However, if you don't have $2,000 to drop on that stuff, one of the things that you should know, especially if you're trying to get into this, is that people at the cons are generally very, very cool. And they are very willing to give advice and talk about the things that they've gone through. So you can ask them about parts of the process that you're not really sure about, and they'll be pretty open. I can't think of a single person that I've talked to since starting being involved in any of this that has just straight shut me down, where it's nah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to answer these questions. I've never had that happen once. Yeah. So if you go in, if you're open and honest and stuff like that, and you ask people hey, what was your experience with this? Or can you give me pointers regarding this aspect of it? You might get bad advice, but it's not going to be given to you, with a negative feeling behind it. So especially look at people who have their stuff together, ask them.
Yeah, that's a very good deal. And then you have the Golden Schmalky over here, which is a variant cover for Richard 1.
Artwork done by Joseph Schmalky, who is known for We Don't Kill Spiders, Phantom Star Killer. I mean, he's done so many. He's doing 7 Years in Darkness now.
That's right.
His current project. Very talented, wonderful guy. He did that piece for us.
He's super nice.
It is,
his favorite cover from the first volume for sure.
Yeah, he's so super nice. We talked to him. Yeah, he's very nice.
And it's based on a tarot card.
Yeah, you see that? Looks really cool. Look, that looks really nice. It also looks like a really old school printed etching as well, which I really like the printer plates like that.
Yeah, it's definitely based on a tarot card style. That's what it's supposed. It's supposed to be the shepherd as the hermit from the tarot card.
There you go. Oh, oops. Oh, crap. I closed my thing.
Oh, that's all right. And what you showed there in the silver, that's a foil version of it. So you have the gold foil, and then you have a silver foil version.
Yeah. I accidentally closed my whole tab over there. But
all right.
This is the whole volume 4. This is what the cover is right here. So you can actually see a better look at it here. You got both characters here just kind of embracing it. It's just such a lovely piece of artwork.
Yeah.
And it's so nice. I really love the story that they have interacting with each other. And there were 2 other things that were on there. It was the neon sign, and then you had your wolf that you already painted that you showed earlier, which was very, very,
which is
very
already
lovely.
sold. I'm trying to chat Berto up into doing possibly another one.
Oh,
well, it sold so quickly. I was like, that's a massive compliment. It really did well.
I mean, that thing looks good. I mean, you eventually want to do the shepherd, paint one of those as well?
So like the thing is, I've only really been doing the painting minis thing for like, I don't even know, like 4 or 5 months. Like the thing is, I've had
4 or 5 months. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. But like I watched like what do you call it? Like Duncan Rhodes on like YouTube, how he paints miniatures. Like I learned from them like like tips and tricks about how to make stuff look better. So like one of the things that I think did a lot of the heavy lifting on a figure this big is that it was primed with kind of like a gray. And this paint here, this black, is a contrast black that kind of like settles into the grooves, and so it can't like the actual model itself catches the light in such a way that adds a lot of texture. That was like really easy for me to do. Like that's a solid black, and then it's really on the face that I touched up with like storm vermin fur to like add the textures to his face and the contours and stuff, where his fur kind of flows. We looked at a lot of like Canadian black wolves.
We did some dry brushing too.
Yeah, we did a lot of looking at like Canadian black wolves and like how their like fur breakdown is and like what parts of it actually have highlights in it, because like a lot of their back and body generally tends to be solid black, and their ears are actually surprisingly blacked out as well, where there's not like you can't really see a whole lot of flesh tone. A lot of them don't have like white hairs in their ears. They have like some of them have kind of like the chest tufts you'll see where they have like coloring there, but a lot of their bodies were just straight black.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating. And then you have that really cool shepherd. It looked like the runes or something behind it too. Neon sign.
Yeah. The shepherd neon sign, that was just being fun. I found out that we could actually make it. And I thought, I may want one of those for my own.
You gotta have it. There's just lovely space on your wall right there that would look great on.
I got to figure out where the hell I'm going to put that. I showed it to my wife. She's like, "Where are you going to put that?" I was like,
"Don't worry, you're gonna find some space." Yeah. How big is that thing? It looked pretty decent size.
20-inch.
Holy moly!
Big. And
whoa.
I haven't put it on there yet, but there's a cheaper version that I will be putting on there as an add-on. It's a 15-inch version.
Okay.
It's substantially cheaper. So if somebody wants it, I'll give them the different size options that pass it on from the company.
Oh, very cool.
But it's just, you try to find stuff that's fun and different and, not everybody else is doing, and just try to make it, interesting for people. And,
lots of fun.
Oh,
that's cool. I like that. I like people when they add like different things to campaigns, because I like picking up weird stuff on campaigns.
Can you dash out and get the pint glass?
No,
actually,
not like any particular
Legio.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
Okay.
One of the things that I actually use all the time is we made pint glasses for the Legio and Shepherd characters.
Yeah. And
they turned out really well. I'll show Berto's running to get the Legio one, but just use that as an example. Both Berto and I really enjoy craft beers. And so getting a pint glass that would have our characters featured was something we wanted to do. It's stupid and silly, but yeah.
No, you gotta have that. It's like combining 2 of your favorite interests. That's great.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
next you're gonna come up with pill bottles for prescriptions.
Well, yeah, that's gonna be his activity, not mine. I just want to go on record that I do not advocate illegal
legal pharmaceuticals.
Exactly. I want to encourage Jay to maintain his course as an artist. And
well, you also have the coffee, so you can do really cool coffee mugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and if you look at our website, we have the Shepherd has
let me see if I still
website.
Have that.
It's called theshepherdcomic.com.
There you go.
And on there we have all kinds of stuff merchandise that you can buy if you like, coffee mugs and T-shirts and
all that good
a lot of
stuff.
fun stuff. Yeah.
I dropped all that down there. So I have every one of your links down below as well,
All
plus the link to your coffee, plus the link. I added Umberto's link as well. So yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, he's showing a
Cross
couple of the. So this is our Legia
Ooh, oh,
glass.
that's cool.
And that's
Oh,
the
that
same
came out
artwork
good.
that ended up becoming that the statue that was done by Luca, the same artist.
Very nice.
And it has the
So
on
cool.
that. And then I use this all the time. This is my standard coffee mug in the morning. So
Oh, I like that. That's a cool
Yeah.
size. I like that it's taller too.
oh yeah. I mean, I'm a very serious coffee drinker. Yeah. So
And then to Jay real quick, because you asked about the dry
Oh.
brushing. Yeah, mostly on like the collar and the chains, and then the like I use like lead belcher to kind of texture the metal. And then on the fur, really most of it was kind of like on the face and the chest, but also kind of like on the knuckles, because a lot of the wolves that we looked at, for whatever reason, their paws will also have like discoloration. So I use dry brushing there to add texture.
Yeah, I like the coloring too that you added on the nails because it pops away.
the
from
nails I think really look
they
realistic.
look so good. Yeah.
We actually were looking at we have dogs, and we were looking at their nails, studying their nails when we did that, because they're discolored. They have like different colors in their nails, which I hadn't really ever noticed until we started looking at what it would look like. And I feel like he did just a great job kind of capturing that in the claws.
I'm learning a lot of this by the seat of my pants. Like I'm not well versed in color theory or any of that. Like the stuff that I've picked up has been through kind of experience of messing things up first, or watching YouTube tutorials of like how to paint stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. They do not encourage him. Do not feed the bear.
We should go into business. Let's go.
Enough. All right. Well,
you guys.
we should probably, as we degenerate into that, we should probably call an evening. But
Yes.
thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
This has
Thank
been
you for coming
delightful,
back.
and the chat has been great. Great people.
Yeah, I always love having you on. We always have great combos. We're always like, yeah, let's keep it an hour. Then we're like 3 hours later.
Exactly. 5 hours later, we're still here.
Oh, before we get on here, I know you're in the midst of hurricane right now, but do you have any other appearances or cons that you're going to be going to?
I have 2 left on the schedule, and I'll be going. My next one is not this weekend, but the following weekend in Cincinnati. That's the closest ones to the Midwest.
Okay.
And then the last weekend in October, I'll be in Chattanooga. And
nice.
So and we've got around this year. I mean, we were in Detroit, we were in Indianapolis.
There.
Like I said, we're going to do Cincinnati this coming weekend. We did New Orleans. That's Barrow's favorite city is New Orleans.
Oh, I love New Orleans. I cannot recommend strongly enough. Like that's one of those cities that like, even more than like New York or something like that.
Yeah.
You have to go to New Orleans. Like you can miss out on New York and it's fine. Like New Yorkers outside of New York, New Yorkers in New York are actually kind of cool. Like I actually enjoyed hanging out with New Yorkers in their city. Now, the second they leave their city, they're problematic.
All right, so as we alienate the entire city,
you're fine. You're fine.
The ones that are in the city, the ones that are in the city, right?
There's New Yorkers that are usually in this chat that would probably agree with you.
Well, he's thinking about the New York drivers that are down in Miami and other points.
Houdat actually lives.
No one else drives that way. So.
And he's always trying to get us to go down to that count, and it sounds fantastic. They get some good people at that one, which I'm very excited to see that. So I would love to go do that sometimes, especially when they do the jazz festival. Oh, that would be phenomenal. That looks a lot of fun.
If you ever are interested, normally it's January that they do the first weekend in January after the first of the year. We try to get like an Airbnb and do that, because what I do is I go down with my family and like let them play in the city, and then I do the con, and then we gather for dinner and then enjoy the city in the evening.
That's fantastic.
It's really
fantastic. Good. I love that.
And we love, as I said, we love craft beer. So New Orleans has some amazing breweries. Holy cow! Our favorite down there is Urban South, and they
Oh,
have our
sounds
favorite
lovely.
beer, at least my favorite beer down there, is called Holy Roller. It's an IPA, and that is really good. And they have a new
Nice.
variant on that where it's what's it called now? Holiest Roller or something like that. It's an orange, like a blood orange IPA.
Ooh, nice.
Real good. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I like
it should be
the
legal. It's not good that it should not be legal.
Hopcats here has this raspberry summertime beer that
Yeah.
I really enjoy. So when I go there, I usually like getting down when it's really good.
I've been to Hopcats before, and that is
Yeah.
definitely worth your time. Yeah,
It is. It's some good stuff. I know. I'm so excited, and I'm getting excited for all the cons coming up. We have a lot of them. They're back to back. So we have 3 main cons coming up from Halloween weekend. We have YomaCon down in Detroit. We have the second version of Motor City, and then the weekend after that's Grand Rapids. So we got a whole
That'll be fun.
line
Yeah.
here. Oh, it's
That'll be
exciting.
fun.
Yeah.
And Grand Rapids is a great city. I mean, I
it's so much
really
fun.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blood Orange is very good. Yeah, that's
some good stuff.
no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
if you ever get a chance to experience Urban South down there in New Orleans, it's totally
definitely.
worth your time. It's small. They're wonderful. You meet the owners. I mean, they're behind the bar, you know, and you meet them and chat with them. And
I love that.
yeah, the microbreweries are just amazing. And, you know, that's, I think what do they call that? The Garden District, I think is where they call that. It's really a beautiful area they have multiple breweries. So if you like craft beers, you can walk back and forth between them.
That also sounds delicious, Tate.
Mm-hmm. The food is great. I mean, the convention is a mediocre convention. It's not bad, but it's not spectacular. But we go there for the food and the beer, and we love it. And the music is very good. Excellent live jazz. And other kinds of music.
Yeah. If you're going to a con, if it's out of state, you're there for the experience. That's all part of the experience.
New Orleans always delivers. It's a really good city. It really is.
Yeah.
To me, it's a top 5 American city.
Oh, I love
it. It really is. Nice. It's a distinct, like for me, I would say Boston, San Francisco, a very unique. Chicago, as much as a Lions fan, it makes me sick to my stomach saying that. Chicago is also a very unique American city. And New Orleans, of course. I think I said Boston, New York. I threw New York in there too. Sure. I mean, just you have to experience those cities. And I also say Nashville. I think Nashville is a very cool city. It really is. Tennessee in general.
I drove through there coming back up from Texas, and we stopped at the Loretta Lynn buffet one time. I couldn't do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on here. It's a very pleasure meeting you for the first time. You're welcome back here anytime. You know, I love chatting with you. And next time you're in Motor City, let me know. We'll definitely go.
We're going to make every effort to be there.
That's right.
I'm going to see if I can get him to come with me this year to
cool.
Motor City. And yeah, I really enjoy that convention. Nice people. And that is
so nice. Yeah.
The people who run that con are class, in my opinion. They treat you so nicely. They really listen. And I really enjoy that convention every year.
I like that they added the food truck thing for outside too, which was
cool.
nice. That was really nice. I like that. Let's see. Bring if you ever find yourself anywhere in the PNW. Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Always looking for a new brewery. And we're really, if you like craft beers, this is a great time to be alive because you can find
so many
really nice beers all over. I mean, I go like really to Dallas is about as far as I go west, which is a haul. Trust me when I say that when you're coming from West Palm Beach and then up into the Midwest. I've done Washington, D.C. I haven't done any New England cons. Not that I wouldn't. I would.
Yeah.
I just, it's hard to get in and, you have to also do the economics to see if you can make it worth your time.
You got New York Comic Con. There's King Con over there.
We did New York City. We did New York City.
What's the one with the T? Terrific Con is the one in Connecticut at that casino over there. There's a whole bunch over there in that one area that are pretty nice. That a lot of good guys go there. So there's some nice ones. But
one that I recommend to anybody is do Dragon Con in Atlanta. It's on Labor Day weekend. That
one has always looked amazing. That one has always looked amazing. It's one of the ones I've seen years ago that has always like stuck out at me. That one, there's like some Anime North Central They were always like pushing big time, like all over the years.
It's worth your time. The cosplay is stupid good. It's stupid good cosplay.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
And,
you get all the Blizzard
they
stuff
actually have a cosplay parade where they shut down major streets in downtown Atlanta. I mean, which show me a city that does that. And they do it, and they do it every year. And they have multiple hotels are involved. It's a really big sprawling event down through the downtown area. And you're seeing just top-notch cosplay. Yeah.
Oh, there's some good ones. Yeah, I want to go to a con. Like Heroes Con is my goal next year. I want to go to that out of state. But I would love to do one out of state every other year. Yeah. I know. It's going to be fantastic. But I don't want to keep you too much.
Chicago this year. We'll see if C2E2. I've never done C2E2.
Okay.
The problem is that a lot of years the Chicago one is in unpleasant time of the year. Like
what is it? MegaCon? Yeah, you had the dueling MegaCon C2E2 that one year.
Yeah.
Was that last year? Yeah, that was not a good planning choice.
You have to say Orlando, Chicago. Where do I want to be in March? I'm thinking Orlando.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just let's go to the Windy City in March. It'll be delightful.
Yeah, sounds. You don't really want to. Oh yeah, Jay, you're coming to 2025. You want to? Yes, let's go. Let's go cons. Let's go. Let's all meet up and do dumb stuff at cons. That's the best part. I don't want to keep you too much longer because you guys are in midst of hurricane times. But thank you so much for joining us. Go follow them all the places. Go check out the campaign. Go share this. Go back this. Go do all the stuff. You will not be disappointed with the story and the art. It's fantastic. But thank you guys for coming here. Thank you, chat, for coming here. You did get a backer during the stream, so I don't know who that was. So what? Thank you. And we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here. So I don't have an outro, so we're just gonna dance out of here. So I hope you guys brought your sick dance moves. So
see you, Space Cowboy.
Let's go.
I should